listening. If Athleisure was a radio show, this would be that radio show. Bo Bishop, a dignified man of leisure.
My wife will try and drag me to like an Easter brunch buffet, and I don't like that because I don't like everybody standing over food I'm going to eat.
Friends with the highest intellectuals.
We found out the hard way. We have white furniture. That's all I'll say. Oh, God. Holy
Literally.
An athlete, coach, husband, and father.
That drives me nuts. My kids say, I'm him. Shut up. Kidding me? You're 9. You're not him. I don't even know what the hell that means.
And two guys who are considerable downgrades from a former football player.
They always thought that they were the friends, and I always thought that the guests were the friends.
No, it's the listeners.
You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
So funny. We don't need a former player. Hey, you know what? What if you're both? What if you're a friend and a former player? I'm still a friend. You can keep Bishop and Friends. I am still a friend.
That guy's gone radio silence for like 2 weeks now. Apparently he's busy coaching a little football up at the Ohio State. Used to hear from him about every day. Now it's been a couple of weeks.
He yelled at us when we were out at practice a couple of times, and he just came on the stage during a segment and ran off.
That's right. Let's do it live here on a Friday edition of the program. Bo and the Boys with you for the next 3. 2 days, 10 o'clock. We'll hit the Chiefs and the Raiders as the Chiefs try to do, last team to win 3 in a row.
I don't think it's ever been done, actually.
In the Super Bowl era, never been done, right?
Right.
Let's just play this out. Cowboys twice. No. Patriots, no. No? Okay. All right. Let's make a little history here for Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. We'll get a little view on their offseason. It looks to be, from the outside looking in, like they look ready to go, but they've had a lot of injury luck through the years, so we'll see if they can keep all of that going. We'll get into that coming up at 10 o'clock. In the 11 o'clock hour, what we learned this week, Doug will stop by as well. Ryan Day with a big lean, I think, on the quarterback situation. We'll get to that coming up at 9:33 as they are inching closer to naming Will Howard there, your starting quarterback at the Ohio State. I did want to start with yesterday afternoon. So this is a perfect example of, there's a lot of bad that social media does, and especially with my kids, but and all of us, I think, really, like there's an addiction to it. But there is the one that I've always stuck up for, and I understand this is a very slippery slope to try to navigate, is the Twitter and the X. And the reason that I stick up for it is not because I love the misinformation, but rather because it is a true live timeline of what is happening. Whether the other ones, whether it's the Snap or the Instagram or the Facebook or whatever, those are more like, hey, look at me, look at this. But the Twitter or the X, there is a now quality to it of this is what's happening right now. And I've often said, like, I've always done this show. I do remember doing radio without Twitter, and what we would have to do, AR and I would have the 2 TVs on. We'd have ESPN on, and typically NFL Network would be the 2 TVs. In the summer, we'd have MLB. We'd have those on in the studio, and then you would basically just refresh ESPN over and over again the whole show, just to make sure nothing happened. That's the way that it worked. Well, now you have Twitter, and it's been this way, and there's a bunch of negatives to it, but there are some positives, and the timeliness, I think, is the most important, and it helped me yesterday. So it's late afternoon, get home from my afternoon activities, and I popped the phone open and saw what was going on, and I saw somebody tweet, Team USA is down 11 to Serbia in the second half. And I went, oh, okay. I forgot that they were playing. I know the Handsome Update anchor yesterday mentioned several times that they were playing in the semifinals. I tend not to listen to him. And so you say to yourself, okay, here we go. This is a semifinal. We're down 11. Now, Serbia, okay, that means Joker. Serbia, that means can probably got a bunch of guys who can shoot it. If we're not shooting it well, that could tend to be a problem. Also, Serbia, I'm thinking to myself, all right, that's a team that's probably been together a little bit, and they know how to play as a team versus a bunch of guys who are kind of put in spots and trying to find their way. And sure enough, when you turn it on, that's exactly what happened. And Team USA makes a run in the third, and they cut it to 6. And then Steve Kerr empties the bench, and he puts 5 dudes in, and it goes from 5 right back up to 13, and you're going, holy cow, like, is this possible? This would be the biggest USA upset in the Olympics. There was the team in the early 2000s, maybe like 04, that LeBron was on with Darren Williams that lost several times in the Olympics. And then it was like, okay, Kobe, we're going to need you to come and play and let's get this thing right. And they haven't lost since. And so you sit here and you're watching this. And what was most cool is watching it again and bringing back in the Twitter aspect of it, watching people react to it, and then watching these old dudes. it's crazy, but LeBron James is 39 years old. Steph Curry is 36 years old. Kevin Durant is 35 years old. And if those three aren't, if Steph Curry isn't stupendous, then you lose. He had 36 for crying out loud.
In 10-minute
in an
quarters.
Olympic game.
Yeah.
In 10-minute quarters in an Olympic game, Chops. Like when you got on a dream team situation where typically the leading, I think Barkley, you can have the MIT kids look it up. I want to say Barkley led the original dream team in scoring with like 14 points a game. Like that's typically what it is because you spread the wealth. Mm-hmm. He had 36 points. He was the entire offensive engine for the first three quarters, and you needed him in the fourth, and he hit several big shots, including a three that really kind of iced it late in the game. LeBron had a triple-double in the Olympics, 16, 12, and 10. He is 39 years old. Steph was stupendous. Durant, it's funny, like at 35, he's still probably the most complete and terrifying offensive weapon that the game has ever seen. Because of his height and his length and his shooting ability, he can get his shot whenever he wants. And they were going to him when he got hot in stretches. Embiid had some big moments too, but I almost felt Embiid was like a wash because he was apparently allergic to blocking out. So every time he would score on one end, the guy that he was guarding would get an offensive rebound and keep a possession for Serbia. But he did have some clutch buckets as well. But there's a couple of things that come from it. Number one is probably the most I've been to a professional basketball game since 2017. It's been a long time. And then probably the second thing was just this realization of like all these old heads did it. And they leaned on all of them. Like nobody else played. The other guy who played in the fourth quarter was Anthony Davis. Other than that, it was Durant, Curry, LeBron, and Devin Booker. By the way, give Devin Booker a lot of credit. This is a guy who scored 70 points in an NBA game. He basically became like a bird dog defensive player. I mean, he didn't get a shot. That wasn't shooting it. All he did was defend, which was crazy for someone of his offensive acumen. But it was fun. It was thrilling to watch, and just a reminder of how great that group is. And then the follow-up question to that is, okay, what happens when those guys aren't there? Because it looks like it could be a little bit of a struggle.
Bo, you mentioned Devin Booker. Oh, he's not shooting shots. I don't know. Have you seen him and Suni Lee? They've been hanging out a little bit in that Olympic Village.
Oh, my God. Don't tell 12-year-old NBC. That's his lady friend.
Yes.
Oh, my God.
So that Devin Booker, he's busy when he's not on the court as well right now.
I think he does quite well.
Yes.
Wasn't he with a Kardashian at one point?
Probably, right.
I think he dated one of those girls at one point. Yeah.
But to illustrate your point, too, of like the 36 from Steph and how amazing that is in an Olympic game, you just don't see that. Because like Kevin Durant, especially in the fourth quarter, once they put those old heads in, he was a really important part of the fact that they were able to make this comeback. He had 9 points total. Yeah. It felt like, if you're watching the fourth quarter, that this was like this crazy Kevin Durant game. Like he went out there, and I was explaining it to J-Lo because we were watching it live, and I was just like, see, the thing is with Kevin Durant, there's just like most teams don't have somebody who can guard him because he's a 7-footer who can move like a guard. Like there's just nothing you can do, and that was on display totally in the fourth quarter. LeBron got to do his put my team on the back, and then Steph does what he does best, and he hits threes, and he hit timely threes, and that was the difference. Serbia went back down, and they missed their threes down the stretch, and the U.S. was able to come back. J-Lo also asked me, she's like, oh, are you nervous? We turned in the third quarter, they're down like 11. Yeah. And she's like, are you nervous? And I'm like, not with this squad, like an 11-point deficit. I told her I'll be nervous if it gets to higher double digits in the fourth quarter or if they're still down within 5 minutes. So then it goes to 13 at the beginning of the fourth, and I was like, I am getting a little bit nervous. Then it was 5 with 5 minutes left, and I was like, nope, they got it.
They felt pretty good about that.
It's over. They're going to do it. But it was a really exciting, thrilling game, and that side of the bracket scores a lot more right now. So it almost feels like that was the gold medal game. France, it's going to be a wild environment because they're playing France. But I just think the U.S. offense is a little bit higher. If you look at the brackets, it's all like 70s and 80s going through the other side of the bracket, and then it's all 90s and 100s for USA and Serbia coming through here.
I believe I had that yesterday. We were talking about, the single Olympic events, pretty thrilling. But once you get to tomorrow's gold medal game, like there's going to be nothing like that atmosphere. You're going to have a bandage Victor Wembanyama leading Team France against Team USA. And in the history of the United States playing Olympic basketball, there has been one man, and only one man, to have a triple-double. Of all the talent that's ever been amassed by Team USA, the Dream Team, the Redeem Team, these guys, LeBron James is it. And it was about 2.5 minutes left to go. Steph Curry drains a three. I think they go up one. And I'm like, all right, this is going to be bonkers Saturday.
Since when did LeBron have gray in his beard, by the way?
He's let it go for probably...
He's just understood that
the last couple of years, he's kind of just been like, okay.
It really stood out yesterday, and I was like, I wonder if he doesn't have his barber in Paris. I think in the last year or so, he's kind of let that happen a little bit. It's remarkable that a guy who is 39 is playing, and stop it with, he's not a forward, he's a point guard. He's the point guard. That's what he is. He's a basketball player, really.
He's a point guard. He distributes everything. He brings it up every time. He leads every fast break. That's exactly what it is. And they relied on him and Steph and Kev to do it. And it was, what made it so thrilling was, like, let's say USA's up 11. When I look at that tweet when I get home yesterday, I'm not watching because I'm like, okay, safe. Mm-hmm. But it was like, oh, we have a threat on our hands here, kids. And we were glued to it. And I was incredibly worried just from the standpoint of trading threes for twos. You have to. There were 3 straight times when they had. This is the other thing about LeBron. You mentioned the triple double, Reese. Guess who he guarded for much of the fourth quarter? Joker. He was guarding Joker, and they had Embiid off so that LeBron could switch on the pick and rolls better than anybody else's, and the advantage wouldn't be as big for Joker because they kept running that pick and roll at the top. So LeBron was guarding Djokovic. I mean, or not Djokovic, Jokic. I mean, that's a crazy thing, both for Serbians. That's a crazy thing to be able to do if you're LeBron, to be able to do that. Embiid had some big buckets, but when I was really worried it was around 5 or 7 was about the point total, and there were 3 straight possessions where they got a stop, and Embiid did not block out the other guy, and they got the offensive rebound. And I thought, God, it's so hard to come back. You tell kids all the time in youth sports, man, like, if you get buried early, digging out, and this is one of the most talented basketball teams ever assembled, digging out of down 17 at one point is tough. It is tough. And Serbia missed a couple of open threes in the fourth. I mean, they were wide open.
Yeah.
A couple of them were wide open. Like nobody even attempted to guard on second chance threes, and they just missed them. And if they don't, it's different, but they didn't, so it is. So they're going to get France. So that's going to be a fun one. I mean, Wemby will be going.
And it's at a perfect time, 3:30 on a Saturday afternoon.
Yeah,
it's going to be great. It'll probably be raining, so you'll probably be inside anyways.
What a suck August, by the way, we've had.
Well, you up in Cleveland, there's been a lot more rain. We've just been like wanting a little bit of the rain because it's been what feels like 100% humidity this entire week. It's just
August should be sunny and hot. That's the brochure. Sunny and hot. And we haven't had much of that. A lot of overcast. It's been humid. But, I mean, even when we were at Buckeye practice, it rained that whole morning. Mm-hmm. Just kind of drizzly rained that whole morning last week on Friday. And Thursday wasn't crazy hot in any way. Like, you know, I know that, like, these guys coaching like Ryan, Stefanski, Zach, like, they want hot. They want it hot is what they want, and they're not getting it the way that they normally do.
And it keeps going back and forth, too. Like, every other, like, it'll be 95 for a high, and then it'll be 81 for a high.
Right.
And then it's humid the whole time.
It is. Yeah, it sucks.
This whole summer has been, the weather is different every time I step outside, even on a single day. Mm-hmm. Like, when I come in and when I leave in the afternoon, different days, it feels like. And it's not just the difference between morning and afternoon.
No, it's not. It's been a crazy month, and we're a little over a week into it. So that was thrilling stuff. Some other stuff in the Olympics fun last night as well. The McLaughlin girl, that's crazy. Like how dominant she is in that sport in the 400 hurdles. That was fun to watch her dominate. And a couple of days left of the Olympics. It's been fun. We've watched it as a family almost every night. It's been an absolute win. We got a lot of football on the program. The Browns and Bengals both with preseason debuts this weekend. And we'll get you set for both of those, what you can expect from both of those teams. And coming up at 9:33, Ryan Day on his quarterbacks. We're off and running on a Friday. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
We have so many local shows, I can't fit them in a 10-second promo. So let's just say we're live and local all damn day. The Fan.
August may seem like the end of summer. It also means the beginning of a lot of things, like back to school, festivals, football. At Buckeye Lake Marina, it means the August savings days are upon us. Get huge discounts on all of the new and used boats that they didn't sell. Every pontoon, tri-toon, sport boats, even fishing boats are ready for you. Save thousands on demo models that have been used all summer to show off amazing features. Some have never even been in the water. Take advantage of the August savings days at Buckeye Lake Marina. Their summer hours continue through the entire month of August. Visit BuckeyeLakeMarina.com for details.
Score a goal with the Love My Crew checking account from Pathways, the checking account that rewards you for supporting the crew. Learn more at pathwayscu.com. Pathways Financial Credit Union, official credit union of the Columbus Crew, federally insured by NCUA.
Ah, the sounds of back to school time. There's plenty to about this time of year, so let Cane's take something off your plate by putting something on it, like hand-battered chicken fingers and cane sauce.
Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers, one love.
Hi, it's me, Little Bob from Bob's Discount Furniture. I know, you don't know me yet, but I'm here to let you know that I'm opening up 2 brand new showrooms in the Columbus area, located in Reynoldsburg and Polaris, bringing even more of my everyday low prices to the people of Ohio. And if you can't wait, MyBobs.com is the quickest and easiest way to get unbeatable furniture prices delivered straight to your home today. That's my 2 brand new Bob's Discount Furniture stores coming to Reynoldsburg and Polaris this summer.
Get Bob's Discount!
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone. If you need a new roof but you're not sure you can afford it, no problem. Right now, Able Roof is offering no payments, no interest until 2026 for qualified buyers. Yep, that's the same Able Roof that's been voted the #1 roofing company in Columbus by Consumer Choice Awards 22 years in a row. Want more? Able Roof will give you up to $1,000 off a new roof, siding, or windows. This is a limited time offer, so call Able Roof today.
Call Able for the proof. 444 roof.
Keep up to date on the summer games in Paris. Hear hourly reports on ESPN Columbus by listening to the Fans HD2 or by tuning into 1460 on the AM dial.
Sponsored by Newman Roofing.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Hey, Buckeye fans, ready for the chance to win one of 12 ultimate Buckeye experiences? As the official wing sponsor of Ohio State Athletics, Roosters is kicking off an incredible giveaway you won't want to miss. We're talking tickets, sideline passes, a trip for 2 to the Oregon game, and exclusive access to the Ryan Day Coaches Show. Go to roosterswings.com to register and see all the details. 3 drawings, 12 winners. Register today and every day. Roosters, a fun, casual joint.
Does our waiter look familiar?
I think he was the Plum Insurance mascot.
If all insurance companies were like NJM and didn't use gimmicks, then their mascots would have to get real jobs.
That explains the long purple hair in my soup.
No jingles or mascots, just great insurance. NJM.
We go to war for you. I'm attorney Robert Sugar of Sugar Shannara Trial Attorneys. When it comes to accidents and injuries, we're here to fight for you. Get a free consultation today and know your rights. Results matter to us because we go to war for your family. Warforyou.com.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy real estate as is fast for cash. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. I buy vacant properties, inherited homes, divorce situations, death in the family. I even buy my tenants won't pay me the rent houses. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000.
If a friend asks how you're doing, and you say,
I'm okay.
When the truth is,
I don't want my problems to burden anyone.
Or you say,
hang it in there.
Because
if I ask for help, they'll just think I'm weak.
Then this is your sign to call, text, or chat 988 for free, confidential support. Anytime. You don't have to hide how you feel.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Skies are cloudy this morning, but that will change later today. Temperatures are starting off in the 60s and 70s. As we head through this afternoon, a cold front pushes through. No rain in the forecast. Will stay nice and dry, but it will clear out our clouds, drop our humidity, and keep our temperatures in the 80s. Columbus topping out at 84. I'm meteorologist Madison Reich with your weather impact forecast on The Fan.
The uncle you never knew you had. The friends you kind of wish you didn't. This is Bishop and Friends.
And we are sponsored by Awaken 180 Weight Loss, fast, sustainable weight loss without the medications. A solution for weight loss, Awaken 180 Weight Loss. So it sounds like this afternoon you're going to get a little August. A little bit. Clearing out. Madison with the update there. A little clearing out, a little less humidity, and you get a little feeling of what it's also supposed to be. Reese, as the resident baseball expert on the show, am I reading right that Grady Sizemore is going to is managing the White Sox? Is that right?
Yep. He's really he's never really had good luck.
The Grady Sizemore?
That Grady Sizemore. I didn't know he was with the White Sox organization yesterday. I had to ask our resident White Sox fan, the common man, And I guess Grady, who lives in Arizona, was working as a coach in the White Sox farm system. And last season, I think he was like a $15 an hour intern with the Diamondbacks organization. And okay, I guess what they wanted to do was, after they fired their manager yesterday, they wanted someone familiar with the organization, but someone who was so far away from what was going on in Chicago, but could still help out with their younger guys. Because that's who you're playing right now.
I'm with you. I haven't heard a word out of him in a decade.
He was so good
vaporized
when he was healthy, and he could just never get it right health-wise.
He had a stretch in the mid-2000s. I mean, it's pretty amazing. Like, he's a rocket ship when he comes up. He's basically really good right away as a 22-year-old. He has 3 straight All-Star seasons with the Indians from 06, 07, 08. They're in the mix for a lot of that. Him and Pronk, right? Like, that's like that other – that's the thing you come back to when I make that statement about in the last 20 years. I was talking with Man and Bone about this last week. In the last 20 years – to be fair, Mike had a great comeback, but I said, in the last 20 years, are the Indians Guardians the best professional organization in Ohio? And he said, Crew. And he's probably right in that sense, but the Crew are almost gone. And so you add that to it because you have the championships with the Crew. But the consistent winning that the Guardians have had, to the fact that you go all the way back to 05, 06, and it's Sizemore and Pronk and Sabathia and all that. I mean, they've had several different incarnations, all good. It's a remarkably stable organization. It really is. One of the best in baseball.
Yeah, I had a quadruple take when I saw that reporting come out.
Wow, no idea.
It was even more shocking than, remember that bar in the Short North, Reeser, a few years ago, Seesaw, that was apparently owned by Jason Kipnis? And that was a really random, like...
It was, yeah. He owned one in Cleveland, I think, as well.
Okay.
And they tried to open one up in Columbus, and they did for a little bit. And then they didn't. Like, they tried to make it like a super Instagram-y bar.
Yeah, it was like positioned to take pictures at.
The thing about people on Instagram, they don't actually have any real money.
No money to buy drinks, just take pictures and pretend.
They don't have disposable income.
No, they don't. So, yeah, you go Kipnis. Is the most fun of all of that run is probably the Napoli party at Napoli's when they get to Game 7 of the World. That's it, right? With Lindor and all that. Yeah, that's probably the best run.
Gosh, I saw Mike Napoli's career end at Huntington Park.
Did you really?
He was at a minor league. He was in a minor league. He was with the Clippers at the time, and it was either chasing after a foul ball or he was running out a foul ball, and his knee just went the other way of his gigantic body.
And that was it.
It was like, that's it.
He had about as much fun in a summer in Cleveland as you can have. Let's just say that.
Him and J.R. Smith. That's some. No, it's not.
It's all around the same time.
Yeah.
It's 2016.
Yeah. That's the championship
party at Napoli's.
in 16.
That's J.R. Smith not wearing a T-shirt or a shirt.
Yeah. That was on the same day that they raised the banner and gave out the rings for the Cavs championship in 16. They were playing Game 1 of the World Series.
And the Cavs went over,
across the thoroughfare, and then they walked over. I was at Game 1 of that World Series, and it was like, well, what do you want tickets to? They actually moved up the start of the basketball game. They moved it up because it was going to be like an 8 o'clock, and they moved it up to 7 so that it could be over and you could watch both. And LeBron and those guys came over. Yeah, it was nuts. Absolutely nuts.
2016 in Cleveland. What a time.
What a time to be alive, baby. Here's the thing about when you talk about stable franchises, the Cleveland Browns are that now. They don't have any questions. Although, one thing I will, for the Browns fans out there, Reese, and I'm talking to you, there are some real issues at left tackle. Jack Conklin has not been seen.
Who's going to be it?
Yeah. Jack Conklin has not been seen. It's fair. Jack Conklin has not been seen since day one at the Greenbrier, not by anybody publicly. Like I don't know where he is, but the thinking was that he was going to be ready to go for camp, and he's gone. Jed Wills has not practiced. Okay, so they do not currently have a left tackle. It's funny, I was reading Albert Breer, who was on with the Juice Bringers yesterday, and he was talking about DeJuan Jones and about how, I don't know how DeJuan, I think the writing said something to the effect of like, I don't know how DeJuan Jones gets on the field if Conklin and Wills come back. And I'm like, no. DeJuan Jones is the best tackle they have. They know it. DeJuan Jones is dominant. DeJuan Jones in camp is pointing at Miles and saying, I want you. That's how good DeJuan Jones is. That's how good he was last year before the injury. He might be the best offensive lineman they have when you think about just Petonio's age, who's an all-pro, and Teller's a 3-time Pro Bowler, but just because of their age, DeJuan might be the best one they got. He is dominant, absolutely dominant.
Do you think they're going to keep him at right, though? And
yes, yeah. It doesn't matter anymore. That's kind of that's another thing that
the blindside idea is old.
It doesn't matter because it's 90% shotgun.
Yeah.
So you have to remember the whole thing with the blind side was that's quarterbacks under center taking 5- and 7-step drops, not looking over their back shoulder.
They got to turn their back to something when they're dropping,
90% of the snaps, especially this year in Cleveland, are going to be out of the shotgun with Deshaun Watson looking left and right. Where's the pressure coming from? So he can see it all. There is no blind side anymore, the way that the NFL game is played, unless you're somebody who plays primarily under center. But even that, the 7-step drop, it's over, man. It's done. You don't see
how
that
much
anymore.
time that takes.
Yeah, it takes forever.
It feels like that time was longer ago, but if you watch like Peyton Manning's Indy Super Bowl, that was on one time in recent years, and I just remember looking at it, and like the whole time, both quarterbacks under center.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Manning he probably was the catalyst for getting it more out of the gun, because he would call the offense at the line. That's where the Omaha stuff came from.
Right.
And then he would get mostly out of the gun when they would go tempo, and that's when then it became far more normal for that to be the case. The Browns open preseason play. You can hear it right here on the Fan. Coverage begins at 4 o'clock. They take on the Packers. The Packers are going to play Jordan Love. They're going to play some of their guys. The Browns are going to play some of their guys. Stefanski has not been specific about who will play or won't. My guess is he will do that today. But one thing about it is you will not see Miles. You're not going to see Denzel. You're not going to see Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, or probably not Delpit. I think you probably will see Batonio Teller, the middle part of the offensive line. I think you will see DeJuan Jones, because I think you have to protect Jameis Winston. And Jameis Winston is a pretty good insurance policy for them. Not only is he an incredible, almost pastor-like influence on, which is crazy considering Jameis's background, on Deshaun Watson, but he's really kind of a heartbeat guy. Like, you've seen him racing Mike Vrabel, and he can spin it. Because, of course, he can. He's always been able to spin it. So here is Kevin Stefanski on what Jameis has meant to the team early.
Jameis has done a great job since day one in getting in here. He definitely has an infectious personality. You hear him before you see him, but he's done a really nice job. This is a new system for Jameis. He's learning like a lot of the new players in the system are, but he's really taken the bit, worked hard at it, and he's had some nice moments out here. That backup position, we've all seen it over the years. Certainly we've seen it, but just in my time, it's an important position. You don't get a ton of reps. You have to be ready to roll at a moment's notice, but you can have a great impact on the football team, both on the field and off the field. So I've seen some great ones. I don't think it's a mistake that you see a lot of coaches come from that backup quarterback position. It's kind of like backup catchers and point guards and those type of things. It's a cerebral position where I think you get a lot of guys that understand all the nuances of this game.
You might be thinking, are those children in the background? Yes, and also Jameis Winston.
You can knick-knack this and that, patty whack,
Did you see that?
give a dog a bone.
Did you guys hear that clip?
Yes, I did.
Yeah. That's where he was talking about Deshaun Watson yesterday. But when the lights are on, that's what he does. Like, he's first one in the building, last to leave. That's truly it. He actually is staying right near the facility. That car that the kid is driving in Hard Knocks, that 3-wheeler car thing, he bought one of those. There's one delivered to the facility 2 days ago, and he's driving that from his house.
What is that? He's renting. What is the brand even on that?
It's called a there's 2 places in Ohio you can get them. It's called a Carmel. It's wildly unsafe.
Yes.
I just got it. I mean,
it's like a dune buggy on the street, essentially.
Yeah. It's not like like the Razor thing, slingshot. It's not, to me, it even seems less protective than that. It looks cool though. I don't know why they just didn't put 2 wheels on the back, because then it would just look like a 50s Roadster. And instead, it's kind of like a 3-wheeler. But, yeah. Of course, Jameis has one. So, you'll have that to look forward to. Depth-wise, not much. Some young receivers could make some moves, but when you're a really good team like the Browns are and a really good team like the Bengals are, preseason's mostly just about the bottom of the roster, and that's what it'll be about on Saturday for them. The top of the roster for the Buckeyes feels like it's about to be decided. Ryan Day up next on his quarterbacks, where they stand right now and where this team stands right now, a little over a week into camp. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Matty Ice is currently bathing himself in creamy jalapeno dip, and I've officially run out of ways to tease this show. Rothman and Ice.
Weekdays at noon.
The Fan.
As a dad, I've got to make ends meet for my family. Right now, that's tougher than ever. That's why I'm grateful we've got Mike Carey in Congress, a leader who cares about families like mine. Mike Carey introduced the Pay Less at the Pump Act, which will save American families billions at gas stations. Mike's work on passing affordable housing and pro-manufacturing legislation will create new jobs. raise wages for working families, and help build thousands of new affordable housing units throughout Central Ohio. Mike Carey was even instrumental in increasing the child tax credit, a measure to help even low-income families thrive. This family man is grateful that Mike Carey's fighting for pro-family policies. To learn how Congressman Mike Carey's helped your family fight inflation, visit carey.house.gov. Paid for with official funds from the Office of Representative Mike Carey.
Common Man here for Care Heating and Cooling. Weather is unpredictable, but the inside of your home should be comfortable just the way you like it. And the best way to avoid those unnecessary surprises is with a care plan. See, with a care plan, you get priority service, system maintenance in case of an emergency. Just another way to give you and your family peace of mind. And maintaining your systems properly can help save you money. A properly maintained furnace and air conditioner run more efficiently, reducing your utility usage. Regular maintenance also prevents breakdowns and extends the life of your equipment. I'm on the care plan, and I'm quite the expert. I'll stop by and give your system a once-over. I will. Don't tempt me. I end every commercial the same way, telling you to hire Care when you need a company you can trust. It's not just the slogan. That's the Care creed. How about this? Lennox. They have thousands of dealers nationwide. HVAC royalty. Last year, Lennox gave Care their coveted Partner of the Year award because they're trusted by their customers and their partners. Care Heating and Cooling. Call 1-800-COOLING or book an appointment online at careheatingandcooling.com when you need a company you can trust.
Common Man and T-Bone.
It's still a little too moosh for me, as you like to say.
You know what? I like that you said that. It warms me that you said that.
You like to say it, and it sticks with me.
Common Man and T-Bone.
Sponsored by the Hinderer Motor Company.
Weekdays 3 to 6 on The Fan.
Hey friends, Brandon Beam here for Truehold. Home values in the city, well, they're sky high. We know that. You have a ton of equity. Your financial advisor thinks the market is peaked. So if you're thinking about selling, it's the right time. Except for two things. High interest rates are going to burn you on a new home loan, and you're not ready to move. Savvy financial advisors suggest Truehold's new Sell and Stay program. It's ingenious because they buy your home now while its value is high, but you can stay in your home as long as you want with an easy, affordable lease. Pretty smart, right? Truehold is going to make you a solid cash offer, not a lowball offer like the others, and it's based on your home's current value. The cash is yours to travel, pay off bills, secure your retirement, and do whatever you want with it. It's your cash. And again, you can stay in your home with a comfortable lease. Truehold covers property taxes, insurance, and maintenance. See how much Truehold will pay for your home today. Call 1-855-300-9993 or visit Truehold.com. The smarter, faster way to cash out on your home's value without moving. Again, that's Truehold.com.
It's Wrangler season out there. T-shirt days, denim jacket nights. A pair of broken-in jeans you could live in. Open roads, endless horizons, no destinations. This is when adventure starts calling. And you need to be ready in jeans that are made for the unpredictable journey that we call life. Wrangler, for the ride of life. Shop our newest styles today at Wrangler.com.
You've got to watch your NFL team every Sunday, and Verizon's got you covered for all your team's out-of-market games every Sunday afternoon. Come on! From kickoff to sign-off. From first downs and touchdowns
Right.
to turnovers and overturned plays.
After review, the pass was incomplete.
Nice. Let's go! This season, win every Sunday with Verizon. Get a great deal on NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV and a new phone. Excludes digital-only games. Terms and embargoes apply.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Fast, sustainable weight loss without medications. The solution for weight loss. Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
What's up?
What's up, man? What's up with you?
Sponsored by High Bank Distillery, home of the best blended whiskey in America. Grab a bottle or dine in at their 2 restaurant locations in Grandview and Gahanna. Drink local, drink High Bank.
All right, here's what's up on a Friday edition of the program. Open media practice yesterday with the Big Ten Network in the house, and so got a chance to look at things. And it felt like, in reading the recaps of it, and we'll talk to Doug coming up at 11:33, but it felt like 3 out of every 4 first-team went-throughs were going to Will Howard. It was trending that way the first 2 days of camp. You could tell based on kind of who he was with and the way he was playing, and just everything around the program. Like, I go back to spring, and you guys remember this from Chip Kelly when he said the room will kind of tell you. That one of that first time he was available. He said the room will kind of tell you. And Ryan talked about that too. Look, the room will kind of tell you. And they're getting to a point where it is Will. I think they needed to see this summer some body transformation from Will. They got it. He looks great. Lost some weight, put on some muscle. And then they needed to see some explosive plays, and they're seeing that with his feet. Deep ball is something that Devin Brown just does at an incredibly high level. And while Will maybe isn't quite there in terms of throwing the deep ball, it's plenty good to do what's necessary to be able to lead this team where it needs to go to the national championship. Ryan Day available yesterday. He spoke on Will Howard and the strides he's made so far.
You're starting to see he and Devin get a little bit more lion's share of the reps with the ones. I will say that he's taken command of the huddle at the line of scrimmage. I think he's much more confident out there. No decisions have been made. We're gonna probably scrimmage a little bit on Saturday. By then we'll take an evaluation and kind of see where we're at. But both guys are getting reps with the ones. But I will say that Will really has taken some strides here in the last couple practices, taking control of the offense, making plays on third down. Again, hasn't won the job, but we have seen some positive play there.
So the follow-up to that is what specifically, Coach, has Will improved on? And here's the answer to that.
This preseason, you've noticed a total command of the offense. He's put some work in, I think, this summer, not only on his body. And by the way, I think it was 2% body fat that he changed, And so that part was big, but also just understanding of the offense. He's worked on his throwing mechanics. But if you just said, give me the one thing that looks different this preseason, it's his command of the offense, the way that he's making decisions, and his movement.
There you go. Looks the part, acts the part. When you hear him, we ran some sound from earlier in this week, and now it's just a matter of time. And the real truth this week, we talked about August 15th as that date. And I said I don't think it will be the real truth, but I feel like I probably should have just followed Austin on that. I kind of want to rethink it. It does feel like they're inching closer, and maybe if there's a good scrimmage on Saturday, it'll be go time there.
Yeah, because they were still holding it so close to the vest, but then you get Chip Kelly, which we played his sound earlier this week, and he's saying probably by the end of the week we'll be zeroing in on it, but not exactly clear what that meant. But okay, that's one little hint. Then the media gets to see practice yesterday, and apparently during the team, like full team 11 on 11 type stuff, Will's getting all of the first team reps, and that's just what they saw for this one day of practice. And Devin Brown's with too. But yes, it's. I don't think this is subterfuge to try to confuse people. It does feel like Will Howard has taken that step forward, and he's going to be the starter because, like you said, he did the things that they wanted to see from him this year. And actually, the deep ball is probably the most concerning thing from him as far as, like, is he fully complete? That's the one that, like, you might be a little bit nervous when you see it. And the funny thing about it is, it sounds like now he was making plenty of freshman mistakes along with it, but Julian Sayin might be the best thrower on the team.
You mentioned him. If you read the practice reports from the guys, it sounds like Howard got all the first team reps in team except for Julian got one.
Mm-hmm.
And then Devin was with the twos and Lincoln was with the threes. So, look, he had to earn it, Reese. And that's the whole thing. Like, he had to earn it. It feels like he has.
This is, I think, and I can't speak. I shouldn't speak for him, but I guess I'm going to try. Something you didn't want to find yourself in, the similar situation last year, where you had two guys who you loved. You loved one a little bit more than the other because with the other, and the other I mean Devin Brown, you weren't 100% comfortable with. There was a ton you loved, but there was just something. And I think it was last season too. It was just something that we were like, I'm going to have to give it to McCord. Similarly with this year, but you didn't want to find yourself in that position again. And so I think the hope there was that Howard would take it. Howard would command the offense, command the locker room, and command the trust of the coaches. And it feels like now, a day before their first official scrimmage, he's done that, and they just need it to be they need it to transpire on the scrimmage field. And then they need to duplicate that success next Saturday. And then I think you can maybe pencil in what you said, the 15th, that being the day that it becomes officially official. Because I still think it would behoove them, all of them there at the Woody Hayes Athletic Center, to say the starter when you all 100% feel comfortable with it, so you give him the outward confidence or the outward vote of confidence, this is our guy as we make this trudge to January 20.
And that'll roughly put them like right in the middle of camp because they just finished up 7th practice yesterday. It's 6 days until the 15th. If there's an off day in there, okay. But they're going to get to that 13-ish realm, and there's 25 preseason practice. So you get half for competition and then half when there's a starter situated.
There's one other thing that's developing here that is It was developing in spring. They tried to really put a cherry on top of the ice cream sundae in the spring game, and Ryan was visibly pissed, audibly pissed on the broadcast when they weren't able to hit it because the throw was late. And that is, at the time, it was Jeremiah Smith, but now he's J.J. Smith. Bob told me he's been J.J. Smith since he got here. They just were slow to adapt. This is a true freshman. I don't know either.
I got to push back on that. It's slow to say what his name is.
Nobody told us.
Nobody told us.
Slow to tell you what to call him.
I don't
it's his name. You don't need to be slow to it.
I don't think we were slow to it. I think Ohio State was slow to officially label him J.J. Smith.
And that I believe, I would just go, why?
Well, I don't know. I don't know why.
That makes no sense.
I don't have the answers to it. But he's J.J. Smith.
What do you want to be called? J.J. Smith. Okay. Everything here on out, J.J. Smith.
Tuimoloau out was J.T. from the get-go.
It's not like Ohio State doesn't have 1,000 people covering the team on a daily basis. You can just let them know via text.
Just tell one guy. That's what it is. So he's J.J. Smith. And irregardless of his name, he's a dude. Here's Ryan Day on him.
We were up in the training table the other day, and so that's why I came here, to get better. And I'm going against these guys. I'm learning about myself, and I love his spirit. He's so competitive. For somebody who's as talented he is, first off, he's strong, he's powerful, and he's big. But it's his work ethic to me that just jumps out. He's physically tough. I mean, physically he'll get after you. But also when he gets out there, very, very few MAs for a young player. He takes his game very, very seriously. He puts the work in off the field. And if he doesn't, make the play, he's hard on himself. And so, rare do you find somebody who's as talented he has, but has really good discipline and skill at that age. So we haven't played a game yet, but he's building a lot of respect amongst his teammates for sure.
We beat Michigan in that dynasty I'm playing with the boys on the NCAA, and I got a notification that Jeremiah Smith, because the game hasn't been updated, that's JJ. Jeremiah Smith is a high rate to transfer, and the reason that he wants to transfer out is because he's not happy with my offensive style.
Stop running the ball.
Are you running the ball too much?
Well, in the championship game I did, I ran Henderson and Judkins a lot in that game, and I think he only caught 2 balls. He's got 13 touchdowns on the season, so he's having a lot of production. But it was funny that we got that notification that he's the guy, and it does lead to something we need to pay attention to here in the coming weeks and leading into the season. We spent so much time on quarterbacks, some of the other things that are out there. The last skill position freshman to force his way onto the field. I mean, it happened in the Tressel era, Clarett and Teddy, and there's some of that. Mm-hmm. Pretty rare in the Urban era. I mean, Braxton had to play as a freshman quarterback, but even Zeke was behind Carlos Hyde.
Yeah.
Skill position, holy hell. And it's funny, in the early Urban, their games are not similar at all, but that's kind of what Percy Harvin did at Florida. It was okay, he's got to play. And we're loaded. Florida's loaded, Ohio State's loaded right now. But he's so good that he's got to play. And there's not a lot of examples of that.
When Ryan Day, we played that clip, and he said big, strong, and powerful, and it's those are kind of synonyms for each other, but it reminded me, the Friday Night Lights movie when they're playing Dallas Carter, and you got Ivory Christian on the sideline, and Coach Gary Gaines, played by Billy Bob Thornton, goes up to him and goes, well, what are you seeing out there? And Ivory goes, they're big, they're fast, they're strong, and they're big. And he goes, yeah, you said that already. And I feel like that's what defensive backs are going to say about J.J. Smith this year.
That's right. He's got a chance to be special. And talking to people around, it seems like we used to do this thing, AR and I, years ago, and we've done it in this incarnation of the show as well. Okay, you can go buy the jersey. It feels like if you're looking for a jersey to buy, a number 4 with Smith on the back would probably work. That's probably one that's a safe bet.
You're safe, pal.
You're safe. Yeah, you're safe. That and a 2 downs would also probably work pretty safely. There's a lot of safe ones on this team. But the reason I like those is you're going to get them for a couple years. You get a couple years of that, too. It's not just 1 year, and then you got to put a new nameplate on it. The Bengals going to host their preseason debut on Saturday. They'll take on the Tampa Bay Bucks. What we'll expect to see from the Bengals starters. What do you need to see, if anything? My hunch is not much. We'll get to it coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
We're the girthiest radio station in the history of radio. Uncomfortably girthy. This promo is uncomfortable. The Fan, Ohio's girth destination.
Welcome to Nada Yada Island.
This season on Nada Yada Island.
You were charging your phone? I waited hours for you.
That's how long it takes.
Join Metro and get a free Motorola Edge that'll charge for the day in 15 minutes. At Metro, there's no activation fees. Only at Metro by T-Mobile.
Bring your number ID and sign up for Metro Flex Plus plan. Offer not available if at T-Mobile or have been with Metro in the past 180 days. Requires 68-watt charger, sold separately. Actual performance will vary.
Score a goal with the Love My Crew checking account from Pathways, the checking account that rewards you for supporting the crew. Learn more at pathwayscu.com. Pathways Financial Credit Union, official credit union of the Columbus Crew. Federally insured by NCUA.
Direct Auto Insurance is for uncompromisers, the people who refuse to make trade-offs in life. Like Kelly, when her old car insurance got so expensive that she couldn't afford to drive anymore, do you think she started carrying her groceries for miles? No. But she did find Direct Auto's savings that allowed her to drive instead of compromise. With savings of up to 25%, you too can stop compromising and keep driving. Get a quote today at directauto.com. Savings based on applied discounts and will vary. Terms apply. How you buy can affect price. National General Group, Winston-Salem.
Hi, Bob and Teresa Capace here. Anniversaries are a big deal and meant to be celebrated.
Join us for our 24th anniversary at Worthington Jewelers. Enjoy 10 to 60% off to celebrate this event, August 15th through the 17th.
Worthington Jewelers, your local hometown jeweler.
1877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car can be picked up as soon as the next day. Receive a tax deduction and vacation voucher.
1877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
Do you feel that? The season is getting closer. Buckeye football comes your way in 22 days. Every game, every season. Proud to be your flagship home for Ohio State football. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
That's the sound of sweat falling drip by miserable drip, because your AC has decided to call it quits in this heat. But the Waterworks Heating and Cooling team never quits, so no sweat. The Waterworks offers same-day AC service to help you keep your cool this summer, and that sounds amazing. Call the Waterworks Heating and Cooling team, 614-333-9720, or schedule service on our website. The Waterworks, better care, better value, better AC.
You never know if the person next to you in line is a McMuffin, a McGriddles, biscuit, or burrito person. But what you do know is that every last one of us in line for our McDonald's breakfast this morning were brave enough to get out of bed a few minutes early.
Right now, get a $2 breakfast sandwich like a bacon, egg, and cheese biscuit or sausage McMuffin with egg, only in the app. Offer valid one time per day from 7/29 to 9/1/24. Participating McDonald's must opt into rewards.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online at hims.com/joy. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation to determine the ED medication that's best for you. Discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and a range of treatment options, including trusted generic alternatives to the name brands at up to 95% off. ED is personal, and at Hims, so is treating it. Just go to hims.com/joy and get connected to a licensed medical provider online for free with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit, hims.com/joy.
The Fan Guest Hotline is sponsored by Airflow Heating and Cooling and Bryant, doing whatever it takes to keep you and your home comfortable. The Fan.
Find us on YouTube. Search WBNS Radio and you can see what Bo looks like. But only if you subscribe. This is Bishop and Friends.
Bengals opening preseason play at home against the Bucs on a Saturday as well. This works out pretty nicely, I guess, if you're into the preseason football. The Browns in the early afternoon window, and then the Bengals in the evening, a 7 o'clock game. That's an NFL Plus broadcast for that. Zach Taylor has said that the starters are expected to play on that. The thing you're looking for here is just health. I really think that starters playing or not, or who's playing or not in the preseason is really more of a factor of the local media in those areas than it is really even fans or coaches or anything else. Like, to this point, there is no groupthink in the NFL on how to handle this preseason with 3 games. We're going into our 3rd season with it. Everybody's handling it differently. So they're going to play Burrow, but I'm guessing it'll be ultra vanilla, and you basically just want him in and out, and you don't want him hurt at all. Go ahead, Jim.
Yeah, that's the other part of it is, like, even if the starters do come in, what you are going to see is that they're not going to do anything fancy. It's just more, it's not for the experience of practice and figuring out your offense and where your players fit together. It's just the idea of getting some butterflies out for those guys, putting, especially for the quarterback, give him some live bullets that he can see in the training camp time period and then move forward with it. It's not about actually going out there and running your offense, make sure that we get a touchdown on this play. Like, that's not what they're going for. They'd like to score, but it's not the point.
I would honestly just have Joe Burrow hand it off.
I would say maybe 1 or 2 passes. I mean, nothing fancy. I think just to let the fans, let everybody see, he's fine. Because you can only do so much grainy camp
could
footage.
Be a little. It's a good point. It could be some of that for him too, Reese, right? Like,
see the ball go through the hoop kind of idea for a quarterback.
Because it's not like that game's not going to have a lot of fans at it. Like, it'll be well attended for a preseason contest.
Yeah. I also think what you just described is why I'm a little surprised Watson isn't playing in Cleveland, because he really needs to see the ball go through the hoop, I think. I really think so. He's been good at camp, but he's also had moments of like, whoa. So to me, I'm surprised he's not playing, because I think he actually needs the reps. He hasn't played a lot of football in the last 4 years. So, and he's not going to play Watson. This is a Bengals segment, but just this Watson thing. He's not going to play next week against Green Bay, because they're going to do or Minnesota, because they're going to do the 2 dual team practices. So you're not going to see, he's not going to play in those. He'll play in those joint practices, but not in the game.
Is he considered 100% yet?
They say, I don't know. But they say, but he gets days off and stuff. I don't know what the hell's going on. But then they go to Seattle for the final preseason game. That's a 10 o'clock local our time start. It's 7 o'clock Pacific start on a Sunday night.
Hear it on the fan.
Yes, that's right. So do you really think that he's going to play in that? I don't know, like go across the country. I don't know. It's hard to say. As for Burrow, he is going to play. Here is Zach Taylor on the MVP candidate, who you have no questions about when he's healthy in terms of his greatness. Here's Zach on Joe.
He may have a different answer, and that's fine. He knows how he feels better than I do. But again, he's gotten such great work in practice. Obviously, no one's hitting him, but he's getting great pocket work, and I think his chemistry has been really good with the guys that have been out there. And so I don't have any issues with where he's at.
In terms of what Zach's looking for in the preseason opener against the Bucs, here's his answer.
I want our team to come out there and all 11 guys be on the same page and be efficient, and the operation be clean. Obviously, practice is so different, with just play clocks and game clocks and people on the sidelines and people behind and no officials. And so, again, we want a clean operation, efficient. Obviously, we want to see success, but we're not going to overreact to how things go. We want those guys to check that box of being out there in a game together.
Not many questions here for them. It's just, can they kumbaya at one time? Like, I want to see this Jermaine Burton kid play. This is the kid out of Alabama they drafted. They drafted him for future planning for T. Higgins, when Higgins is going to walk for compensatory picks at the end of this year. So I think you want to see him run around a little bit. They've obviously remade their offensive line to a certain extent, especially on the left side. So Marius Mims, the rookie, like, will he play in that game? I assume so, that you're going to get if you're going to have Joe, then you're going to have that first team offensive line in there, as long as he's there. In terms of guys to watch deep in their depth chart, for the first time in forever, no Mixon. So Zach Moss is there. Chase Brown is there. Of course, Chase Brown was at Illinois and was a star there, but someone's going to have to be kind of the bell cow there. Or will they be, the fantasy football nightmare where they kind of go by position there? Remade the deep back end of the secondary a little bit, bringing Von Bell back, so forth. So Geno Stone in at free safety. So this is a remade team on the fly. The core is there, and as everybody knows, it's just Burrow health. If that checks, then it checks. But there are some things to look for in this game. So I think the rookies, specifically at left tackle, and then obviously Burton, that's probably what I'm most curious about heading into this one for Cincinnati.
But yeah, overall, you can say it. It's true about the Bengals this year in camp that, like, they're just not that interesting because there's not a ton of question marks with them. We know what this team is. We know what they're capable of if Joe Burrow stays healthy for a full season. So that's really the only question, and there's no real way to question that day in and day out. It's just hopefully he stays healthy throughout the year. It just feels like the way Zach Taylor was talking about that and the way you were talking about the joint practices, and Deshaun Watson's going to get some work next week with that. It just feels like, can the NFL just add a little more structure to those joint practices, sell those to primetime television, and just get rid of preseason games?
I think that, so having been to those, they're not really conducive for television.
They're just too hard to broadcast?
They are. It's basically like a normal practice instead of both teams separate and they do their individuals. Right. And then they do some individual work together. Like it'll be, next week in Berea, it'll be, Justin Jefferson against Denzel Ward. Like you'll get those type, which is really cool, but it's like in drills. Mm-hmm. And then they go 11 on 11 and they go offense and they work offense and defense, 1s versus 1s, 2s versus 2s and so forth. But it's like 3 plays and then the 2s go. So I don't know if it, and then like if there's a lot of stops, like if something happens, it's like they stop it. They go, what happened here? What's this? I don't know if it's in theory, it's the best action in all of preseason because it's the most like the regular season.
Yeah.
Right. But if there's not enough of it and there's a lot of start and stops. So I don't know if it's anything that would ever be conducive for TV. The thing that I do think is funny about it is, would you really need joint practices if you just treated the preseason game like the joint practices? Just say, we're going to go 1s versus 1s. We're going to work this in the framework of a game.
So what if it's just work?
Why not just do that?
The preseason game to be a little bit more like the joint instead of
that's
making
what I'm saying.
Make the preseason
make
game
the
a little bit more like
game. Actually, use the preseason game for what they're designed for.
I think what the way to do it is to like give the coaches control, and then it'll feel more like a spring game or like a scrimmage when you're in high school. Give the coaches some control where they can say, "Hey, ref, we're taking a break," or we actually both coaches agree we're going to move down to this and we're going to run these units against each other.
At least in the first quarter, at least when the 1s are going against the 1s, and then if you want to play a game the rest of the way, fine. But I think that that's probably the way to do it.
Then guys would play their quarterbacks too if they can say our starter is in a red jersey. I know it's a game, but he's in a red jersey.
They should do that anyway.
Yeah.
They should do that. There's no reason.
They're too valuable to the league for them to get hurt in the preseason.
Joe Burrow should be in a red jersey. There's no reason for him to be touched in any preseason game. We'll hit 2-a-days. We are in the AFC West. The two-time defending champion Kansas City Chiefs on deck. The Raiders as well. John Dixon of Arrowhead Pride going to join us coming up at 10:33 on the chances of a three-peat in KC. That's up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
1, 2, 3. Here at The Fan is always football o'clock. Proud to be your home of the Buckeyes, Browns, and all the NFL games you can handle. The Fan.
Hot under the collar? Call Care Heating and Cooling and we'll fix that fast. 1-800-COOLING.
Tires worn down from all the summer driving? Now through August 17th, buy 3 select tires and get 1 free at your local AAA Car Care Plus location. And on the plus side, AAA members save more. See store for details.
Need inspiration? Shop Kroger for over 30,000 mouth-watering choices with savings beyond low prices, like digital coupons worth over $600 each week and up to $1 off per gallon at the pump. More savings and more inspiring flavors make Kroger worth it every time. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
During our 10 for 10 sale, participating items like Lay's Stacks, Rice-A-Roni, and Sparkling Ice Sparkling Water are $1 each with your card. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Hey, John, why so glum?
I just got let go. The company's downsizing. This is the 3rd time in the last 2 years. I'm done with this.
Have you thought about My Computer Career? I've heard they can train you for a career in IT in just a few months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI. And you don't need prior training or experience. Now that's a recession-resistant career.
Wow, thanks. I'll check them out.
Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. mycomputercareer.edu. Financial aid is available for qualified students, including the GI Bill.
And now Martha Stewart for Skechers. When I make a dish or embark on a craft project, I always use the finest, most fabulous ingredients and materials. Which is why, when it comes to footwear, I love Skechers. Because Skechers is the comfort technology company and uses the most luxurious, innovative materials and designs to make wondrously comfortable footwear with all the fits and features like Arch Fit and Skechers' world-famous air-cooled memory foam. It's exactly the way I'd make shoes.
Find Skechers at a Skechers store, Skechers.com, or wherever stylish footwear is sold.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance engineer, he hears things differently. To the untrained ear, everything on his shop floor might sound fine, but he can hear gears grinding or a belt slipping. So he steps in to fix the problem at hand before it gets out of hand. And he knows Grainger's got the right product he needs to get the job done, which is music to his ears. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus. The Fan. Sports Center.
Good morning. I'm Eric Reeser. The Browns and Bengals begin their preseason tomorrow. Cleveland hosts Green Bay Saturday at 4:25. You can hear that one on the Fan at 4 p.m. Packers will start Jordan Love. No Deshaun Watson for the Browns. Jameis Winston will get the start for Cleveland. As for Cincinnati, they'll host Tampa Bay Saturday night at 7 p.m. Joe Burrow is expected to start and get some work in with the ones. A pair of Buckeye quarterbacks will play tonight as Justin Fields will start for Pittsburgh as the Steelers host the Texans at 7. C.J. Stroud expected to start for Houston. Ohio State's back on the practice field for day 8 of fall camp. Buckeyes are expected to scrimmage on Saturday, 22 days out from their season opener, August 31st against Akron, and it's day 17 of Olympic competition in Paris. In a few minutes, the U.S. men's volleyball team goes for bronze against Italy. The U.S. women's basketball team has Australia this afternoon in the semifinals. This update is sponsored by Whiskey War by High Bank Distillery. Drink local, drink High Bank.
The best hair on the air. You are listening to Bishop and Friends.
Second hour here on a Friday edition of the program. Time for some two-a-days in the AFC West. Hit it, fellas.
Bishop and Friends present Two-A-Days. Our preseason look around the league. We may skip over
the AFC South and maybe Denver,
but that's because they suck.
Boy, this is it. This is the cream of the crop. This is your two-time defending Super Bowl champions. I was curious what happened to the teams who have previously tried to win 3 straight games. So I found a list. This is there's several who have tried to do it. There's been a lot of back-to-back
Super Bowls, not just games.
Yeah, I'm sorry, 3 straight
games.
Super Bowl wins. Sorry, 3 straight Super Bowl wins. So the Green Bay Packers attempted to do it in '68. They went 6-7-1 and finished 3rd in the NFC Central. The '74 Miami Dolphins were looking to do the same. They finished 11-3. They lost to the Raiders in the divisional round. The Steelers tried doing it in '76. They went 10-4. First in the division, lost in the conference championship game to the Raiders. So they got close. The 1980 Pittsburgh Steelers, so the Steelers had 2 different shots at this in their 4 Super Bowls, finished 9-7, 3rd in the AFC Central. The 91 49ers went 10-6. They finished 3rd in the NFC West. The 94 Cowboys, having won the 2 Super Bowls with that group, they went 12-4. They got really close, too. They lost in the conference championship game to the 49ers. That's the Steve Young, Deion Sanders one-season run, so they did it. 99 Broncos, having won 2 straight. Elway retired, so they fell off a cliff. They went 6-10, finished 5th in the AFC West. The Patriots in 05 lost in the divisional round to the Broncos, which I don't remember at all. That was Jake Plummer quarterbacking the Broncos, beat Tom Brady and the Patriots in 05. I have no recollection of that of all. That's it. That's the list. Those are the teams. So the Steelers got really close in an AFC championship game, and the Cowboys got really close getting to an NFC championship game. That's how difficult it's been, and that's what the Chiefs are going to try to do this year.
Yeah, and I looked up kind of the other side of that context, actually, just randomly when we were talking about it off the top of the show. The Packers have won 3 NFL championships in a row twice, and they're the only team to ever do it. They won the NFL championship from 1929 to 1931. Then they won the 1965 NFL championship, then the first 2 Super Bowls in 66 and 67. So that one's really close to counting as 3 straight Super Bowls, but it's technically on the back end is the only 2 that were Super Bowls. And there are 3 teams that have been to the Super Bowl 3 straight years. Obviously, none of them won all 3. One of them didn't win any of the 3. But the Dolphins in the early 70s, the Bills, of course, and then the Patriots in 2016 to 18. Dolphins and Pats go 2-1 in those 3 years going to the Super Bowl.
And then lost the middle one. The Browns didn't get close. The Browns had to be close in the 40s.
They must have been close, but they
didn't. Yeah, because they won it. They won it in 46. All right, hold on a second. From 46 to 48, the champions of each division met in the AAFC championship game. In 49, only 7. Championship game was the final round of a 4-team tournament. So it looks like the Browns, they went 4 in a row there.
Yeah, that's the All-America Football Conference. So then did they not?
The Browns are, I don't know what that is.
Yeah. Is that to go to the championship to play whatever had been the? That looks like that would be the AFC, and then the other one would have been the NFC back then.
Yeah, the Browns are always an NFL team though, so I don't know. Who knows? I mean, some of this stuff, it's kind of like college football national championships. It's very difficult when you go to those old eras to sort it out. Here's the deal. You look at this. This is what's most remarkable about Kansas City, guys. They won back-to-back Super Bowls in a transition. They won back-to-back Super Bowls trading Tyreek Hill. They won back-to-back Super Bowls while not really landing the plane on a receiver to replace Tyreek Hill. And they won twice. They did so because they have – it's funny, I was just having this conversation. 10-year-old Beamsy asked me this yesterday. He goes, Dad, is Patrick Mahomes the greatest player in the history of the NFL? He's the best NFL football player ever. And I said, it feels like he's trending that way. It feels like he's trending that way. He's got a long way to go, young guy. But he's already a 3-time Super Bowl champion. He's kind of in that LeBron category of we've never seen anybody do it like this before. He's kind of in that Michael category of like when they're behind, you know he's going to lead him for a touchdown. I had that stat last month where it was like in these instances where it's dire situation where you're down 7 with like under 2 minutes to go. Brady and Breeze are around 50% being able to get it done. Breeze was the highest. Brady was second. And Mahomes was 7 of 7 in those situations. Like, if they need 7, he goes and gets 7. Like, he's a unicorn, he's a wizard, he's all those things. And now you look at this roster that they have now, and all of a sudden, I pulled this thing up, and I thought, oh, my God, I forgot they signed Hollywood Brown. They drafted Xavier Worthy, who's the fastest player ever at the NFL Combine, running 4.2. Now, all of a sudden, they've got Rashae Rice came along big time last year during that season. Kelsey's back again. Pacheco's back. Like, they have so many weapons all of a sudden that, like, for the last 2 years, they won Super Bowls, and they didn't have weapons like this, and now they do.
Don't forget about Louis Reese-Zammit, the rugby star who came over, that they're giving a chance out there. He's listed as a running back. So I'm interested to see how Andy Reid works him into the offense if we're going to see him at all this year. But you mentioned how they were able to win the Super Bowl last year while they were rebuilding on the fly. And now you look at this too deep, and you're like, wait, did they rebuild? Are the Chiefs now the roster that they want to be?
Built.
Yeah, they're
built.
Yeah, they're pretty close to where they want to be. And the only thing I think that can derail them right now, because they just feel so dominant, Patrick Mahomes is so good, is distractions. When you're on the top, things get a little more distracting. Travis Kelce is dating the world's most famous woman, maybe, but definitely world's most famous pop star. Rashae Rice, who you mentioned, did come on. He had some trouble with the law this offseason. Harrison Butker had found himself in some hot water over the summer after a commencement speech that just was a distraction. Whether or not, it doesn't matter what side you agree with that, but it was a distraction. He's been asked about it, all this kind of stuff, and that's what sometimes happens to these dynasty championship teams is some of the extracurriculars, not that they're things that they shouldn't be doing always, but they just become distractions. And that's what I think is the real, like, kryptonite for the Chiefs right now. Can they actually just stay focused on the goal? But they've seemed pretty good at it so far.
Yeah, it hasn't really had any effect at all.
I mean, even
because they have the Wizards.
Yeah. And Reese wasn't in the lead up to one of their Super Bowl wins. Didn't Andy Reid's son drunkenly hit like a toddler in a car, like in the lead up to a Super Bowl? So like, you're not going to. I just don't see it. The only thing I was going to say is injury. Like if something happens to Patrick, well then that's flips everything.
Really the only thing defensively. Chris Jones. Well, you didn't have him for the first part of last season.
Yeah, he's great. They've drafted
the only thing that could derail them is if 15 goes down.
That's where I'm at. There just isn't much there. Their two deep's really good. Their defense, they flipped to become a defensive team when they needed to be last year, and they have the most clutch player in the game.
Have you guys sensed this in the Twitter sphere? I actually heard even like Bruce Feldman say it on his podcast. There are apparently people out there pushing the idea that Lamar Jackson actually might be the best player in the NFL, and I'm like, I don't know how you get there.
Well, so that's voted top 100, and Mahomes was 5th.
That's stupid.
And Tyreek was
fourth or fifth, and he was behind McCaffrey, Lamar, Tyreek. So it might have been 4th.
It's the same thing when I always say when Steve Nash has the same amount of MVPs as Shaq and Kobe combined. There is at no point in the time that Shaquille O'Neal, Kobe Bryant, and Steve Nash played in the National Basketball Association that anybody starting an NBA team would take anybody other than Shaquille or Kobe. No one was going to take Steve Nash. And I love Nash. I'm a Nash guy. And I love Lamar. I think he's great. There's not a GM in the league who would say, yeah, give me him over Mahomes. Mahomes goes 1 every single time. It is not close. It's not even in the vicinity. His separation between everybody else at the position they're all fighting for second and third, and honest to God, it's eighth. It's so far off.
I think Mahomes is
how
just
great he is.
Finally getting to the turnaround that always happens to a guy who wins a ton consistently. People start to not like you.
It's fine. That's fine. I bet against him last year. I'm never betting against him again, ever. I'm done with it. Let's hit the categories on the Chiefs. 11-6 a year ago, first in the AFC West, won the Super Bowl, looking to win their third straight. Let's hit the categories. Mount Rushmore, Reese, for the Chiefs.
So I'll say this, with everyone on that Mount Rushmore rocking an Andy Reid mustache. So he won't be on it, but they will all have mustaches. Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Tony Gonzalez, Derek Thomas.
Oh, God. I forgot
all
about
of them
DT.
with mustaches.
That's a really good list right
Their list
there.
is really good. It's good.
Patrick Mahomes. I'm going to combine Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift into one. I think both of them could be on it, but I'm not going to take up two spots for it. From my youth, when I think about the Chiefs, I think about Priest Holmes and that 2 or 3 years where he was awesome. And then actually Larry Johnson Jr. Larry Johnson, defensive line coach. His son played for the Chiefs and had a couple of good years right near the end of the Priest Holmes run there as well. And then I do this every time we talk about the Chiefs and we have any sort of who's the best. Len Dawson. I was just talking about that Super Bowl one that the Packers won. They actually beat the Kansas City Chiefs and Len Dawson. But in that Super Bowl, he's the real winner because he got photographed at halftime smoking a cigarette and drinking a Fresca. And that's the coolest NFL picture that's ever existed.
It's he's number one for me for that exact reason. I had that on there as well because that image of him, sucking down that heater at the halftime of the Super Bowl, and he was also, he was the voice of Inside the NFL. I mean, he was on that show my whole youth, the HBO show, so he was instrumental. So yeah, I love Dawson. Mahomes is obviously the top of the threshold there. Travis Kelce's got to be on that list as well. It's amazing how much talent they had, and really up until Mahomes, they don't have a glut of Super Bowl wins. And then from my youth, he's the answer to you used Priest Holmes. Christian Okoye had a stretch where he was unbelievable. And for all of the talk of Bo Jackson in Super Tecmo Bowl, Christian Okoye was right there. In fact, he had a bigger truck rating than Jackson in that game. Did they land the plane with the alternate uniforms? A+, because guess what? They don't have any.
That's my favorite thing with a team that doesn't need alternate uniforms. Don't give out alternate uniforms.
Okay, so if uniform is already good and they don't have alternate, we're going high. I wasn't sure what to do with they don't.
Unless their uniforms suck, actually, but theirs don't.
Guess what we'll do with the Raiders?
A+.
The same thing.
Yeah. So this is a quote. I guess they asked Clark about alternate uniforms, Clark Hunt, and he said it was something that my dad felt very strongly about going all the way back to the early 60s. Yeah, the only thing they do is they wear like a throwback 60s uniform every once in a while with an old AFC patch on it, but
it's the same uniform.
It's the same uniform, yeah. They really haven't worn anything else as long as they've been the Chiefs. I'd buy this jersey for my kid, Reese.
An 87 with Swift on the back.
Ooh, Travis Swift.
He's taken that last name.
That was one that I centered in on as well. But as I was looking at the 2D, I had forgotten about this. I'm going with the rugby star, Reese Zammit. Throw that on the back. A number 9. He's got a single digit somehow.
I will tell you, as a father of 3 boys, this uniform is the one I see most that isn't Burrow or Browns players. It's Mahomes. There are so many Mahomes fanboys out there, and I get it. I totally get it. But it looks pretty cool. I'd probably get a white one if I get it. I'd probably get a Mahomes one.
Do kids say Mahomes when trying a hard pass like we used to say Kobe when shooting a basketball?
Not yet. My boy Harrison we had our first practice last night. He might have it in him. I could see him having it in him by the time all this season is over. Look, this is pretty easy as well. Win it all, playoffs, building, tanking. Go win the damn thing. Do it. Make history.
Somebody's got to do it. Somebody's got to win 3 in a row.
I wouldn't hate it if it was the Kansas City Chiefs. Like they're not a hateable team.
I find them so likable. I don't know if it's Reed. Mahomes is as much fun as you can have watching football. Like, obviously, I'd root for the Ohio teams if they're playing the Chiefs, but I find myself in the playoffs being pulled to them.
And they toned down the Brittany Mahomes and Jackson Mahomes last season, so it's like, okay, this is I don't hate you all.
Yeah, that guy was vaporized, wasn't he? Yeah. Pat was like, Go sit in the corner.
I used to not really like Travis Kelce all that much, and then they've been everywhere, I got to figure out who he was a little bit more, and I was like, no, I think he's just a genuine guy who loves football, and now I even like him. So they've done the opposite. They've become more likable as they've won.
I agree. I think they're wildly likable. Our next team we're going to discuss is wildly likable aesthetically in terms of what they are on the field. God knows. The Raiders up next. Two-A-Days continues. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
We're known for three things: games, conversation, and Common Man yelling about things only he cares about. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Check out the all-new John Hinderer Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram facility in Heath and experience the difference. We're your exclusive AgPack dealer, offering up to $30,000 in savings and benefits. And if you're tired of waiting at the dealership for service, take advantage of our service made simple with Carvenience or mobile service. Home of the lifetime powertrain guarantee and one of the largest selections in Central Ohio. John Hinderer Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, Route 79 in Heath, or HindererCDJR.com. We love what moves you.
Experience a piece of history this September and pay tribute to those that have served in the Vietnam War. Delaware County Veterans Services invites you to visit the Wall That Heals from September 12th through the 15th at Havener Park in Liberty Township. Witness the official 3/4 scale replica of the Vietnam Memorial in Washington, D.C. The Wall That Heals is free and open to the public 24 hours a day until 2 p.m. on the 15th. For volunteering opportunities and to learn more, please visit thewallthathealsohio.com.
Hey, it's Bobby Carpenter. Have you ever heard someone say that they just don't make or do things like they used to? While that may be true for many things, there is one company who strives to deliver the customer experience and quality product that we all reminisce about. And that company, well, it's Newman Roofing. You can read it time and time again in their reviews, how much they truly care about their customers and the roofs that they install. And I should know, they installed a roof for me and my family, and it was tremendous. Their sales team was fantastic, and the quality was phenomenal. They strive to leave the home as they found it. And some customers say they even leave it cleaner than it was before, and I can second that. Not only do they install a quality product that is going to protect your home and family for years to come, but they also walk away leaving you feeling confident that you hired the right company. Whether you need a roof repair or replaced, call the company that families have been trusting for 32 years, and that company is Newman Roofing. 614-NEW-ROOF or newmanroofing.com.
Sunday's a time for brunching with your favorite people. And when they don't invite you, listen to us instead. Fan Sports Sunday with Tito and Dabir Posey.
Sunday morning starting at 11.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Integrity, honesty, and quality. Words we live by here at Monogram Homes. Hi, this is Dina. And at Monogram Homes, we strive to bring your wants to your man cave, your needs to your kitchen, and your ideas to life. Most home builders claim to be custom, but starting with stock floor plans and templates isn't our idea of a tailored experience. At Monogram Homes, we start with a blank slate and work with you until you get exactly what you want. So start your true custom home journey today with a builder you can trust. Monogram Homes. Visit us online at monogramhomes.net.
Hi, it's me, Little Bob from Bob's Discount Furniture. I know, you don't know me yet, but I'm here to let you know that I'm opening up 2 brand new showrooms in the Columbus area, located in Reynoldsburg and Polaris, bringing even more of my everyday low prices to the people of Ohio. And if you can't wait, mybobs.com is the quickest and easiest way to get unbeatable furniture prices delivered straight to your home today. That's my 2 brand new Bob's Discount Furniture stores coming to Reynoldsburg and Polaris this summer.
Get Bob's Discount!
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy real estate as is fast for cash. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. I buy vacant properties, inherited homes, divorce situations, death in the family. I even buy my tenants won't pay me the rent houses. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000.
Hi, I'm Josie. My daughter turns 5 today. Blow out the candles. I'm also an Ohio State Highway Patrol trooper. When you move over and slow down, you're not only giving me room to work, you're making sure I can get home to celebrate with my daughter.
Roadside workers have lives and families, but when they're on the job, they put it all on the line to protect and serve us. Let's all give them room to work. When you see flashing lights, remember, they're not just roadside workers. Thank you for moving over and slowing down.
Don't let a cold, sinus infection, or allergies ruin your day. Breathe easier, sleep better, and feel healthier with Navage. Visit Navage.com, Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, or a store near you.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Skies are clearing up now. Temperatures on the rise. We'll see a high of 84 this afternoon, but dropping humidity is going to make 84 feel very nice and refreshing. Tonight, temperatures fall down into the 50s. Tomorrow's highs back to the 70s, staying nice and cool this weekend. I'm meteorologist Madison Reich with your weather impact forecast on The Fan.
Bo knows many people. He talks to the interesting ones on this show. This is Bishop and Friends.
2 days continues. We remain in the AFC West and the Las Vegas Raiders. Before you guys looked it up, did you know who the coach of the Raiders was?
Peyton Pierce is on. Antonio Pierce. Peyton Pierce is a
linebacker. Yeah. Threes loves him.
I remember Antonio Pierce, real football guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do they give him the Holmes treatment. Remember that podcast appearance. He was on Max Crosby's podcast.
That's right. He was, wasn't he? I was thinking about this. So he replaced Josh McDaniels last year in season. Has anyone profited more off an association with Bill Belichick and Tom Brady than Josh McDaniels?
No.
Now, he's smart about it, too. He took the Denver job the first time, did not go well. He was fired in the middle of his second season. He was there with Tebow, so from 9 to 10. Then he was the Rams coordinator for a year, and then went back to New England from 12 to 19. I remember him in the building when they hired Stefanski in Cleveland. He was in the building walking around, and there was a moment where he was there all day, and there was a real moment when it felt like he was going to be the next head coach of the Cleveland Browns. That very much seemed real. The beef, as I recall, was he wanted more say over personnel than they were willing to give. In retrospect, much like the old guy at the end of The Last Crusade, they chose wisely. So they go Stefanski, they go Andrew Berry, and it all changes. He stays in New England for a couple more years and eventually goes to the Raiders from 2022 to 2023. Now, the team he thought he was coaching, to be fair, Derek Carr, Devontae Adams, all of that, that's not who they are. That isn't who they are at all. And he probably was hoping he could oversee all of it. He really did a great deal of damage to Carr in terms of getting out of him as quickly as possible. The previous regime, when looking back on the Gruden regime, is just an utter nightmare. Their first-round picks, Mike Mayock and John Gruden's first-round picks, it's like what not to do in the NFL draft, and there's one after another of them. I mean, guys ending up in jail, and I mean, just craziness.
It was like the Browns had that track until it finally flipped for them. It was a similar thing that they went through during that regime.
Could not pick a guy. So I look at this roster now, and outside of Brock Bowers, who they got in the first round, to me, this is and I don't know how tradable he is, but you trade Devontae Adams now, or when somebody at the deadline, you punt and you get him to a team that needs receiving help, that needs a dynamic player. This is a tank as big as can tank. There's not much here, guys. There's not much here. They're not even at quarterback. They're not even trying. I mean, they actually have the perfect quarterbacks to tank. They got Gardner Minshew and Aiden O'Connell. Gardner's good enough to lead you to believe that you're kind of trying a little bit, but there's nobody on this roster that they're like, oh yeah, this guy could be the future. It's just nuts when you look at what you thought that they were coming from Oakland to Las Vegas and Gruden and all of that to where they are now, which is very clearly, and it's honestly like the perfect market to tank in because people are going to go to the games no matter what. It'll be the opposing team, but so what?
Yeah. Gardner is a lot of fun, but
he is.
If you watch that receiver show, Devontae Adams was one of the guys on it. And so this followed that whole season with McDaniels and then switching to Antonio Pierce. And so in the earlier episodes, obviously, Josh McDaniels is still there. And he and Devontae Adams, sometimes would be getting at it, but you could see Devontae Adams just super frustrated with the physical limitations of somebody like Jimmy Garoppolo. And it's not like they upgraded at quarterback from Jimmy G this past year, so that's going to be more frustration from Devontae Adams, which is not what you want from your only true established star player, basically on your entire roster right now. So I think trading him and getting some value for him, as they are, they're not even at rebuilding yet. I don't know what they're doing. They've been confusing for a few years. I don't know what they've been going for, and so now it's time to situate yourself and give in to the fact that it should be tank for you because Devontae Adams, not happy there.
You trade Adams, see if you can get a sucker out there to give you a 1 or at least a 2, maybe a 3. You tank this season, you end up with a high draft pick. Maybe that sucker's also bad, so you can get a couple of picks in the top 10. See if Antonio Pierce can lead a pesky Las Vegas Raiders squad to, 8 or 9 one-score losses.
Yeah.
And then
that's what I mean. They're kind of built for this.
Yeah.
Because they'll have give a damn.
Because
they'll play hard for him. Yeah.
They'll win some games. You go, wait a minute, you lost to Las Vegas?
There was a funny clip in the receiver where it was like playing like an announcer during one of the games, and it was like, and we don't even know if Josh McDaniels, is he going to make it to the end of the season? And I remember I looked over at J-Lo and I was like, he doesn't.
He doesn't.
Spoiler
like the
alert,
narrator.
He won't.
like the narrator. This feels like Shedeur Sanders, doesn't it? To me, it does. Feels like this would be everything they would want, like him, them. This feels like it would check every box.
Yeah, would Deion like to follow his son to Las Vegas too?
Sure.
I think that would probably be a pretty popular decision.
Yeah, he could be defensive coordinator.
You brought up Brock Bowers. I was like, what if they could get Carson Beck somehow, win that sweepstakes?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, Quinn Ewers, look, everyone's going to look cool in that uniform. It's about as good as can be. Let's hit the categories on the Raiders. Franchise Mount Rushmore. Good luck, because it's tough. So they have so many cool players, so many great players.
Similar caveat, they all wear the Al Davis shades. Right? Because I can't.
How about the jumpsuit? The white jumpsuit.
If it was like a full body Mount Rushmore, absolutely. John Madden, Bo Jackson, Howie Long, Tim Brown. Again, 90s kid here. So if you're going to yell at me about Ken Stabler, I'll be like, I don't remember.
I got you covered on Ken Stabler.
Yeah, the same thing. Like, I know Ken Stabler was cool, but it's not somebody that pops in my head is because I just don't. There's no contemporary with
Fred
him at all.
Biletnikoff and yell at me in the YouTube chat. I don't remember.
But I do know enough about John Madden, Al Davis, and Bo Jackson to know that they should be on my Raiders Mount Rushmore. And those are when I start to conjure up visions of the black hole in the Raiders. That's what I come with. The Al Davis. Man, remember that opening they had for Hard Knocks? With him in it and everything, and then the image of like John Madden being carried off the field, and then Bo Jackson is Bo Jackson, and then I went with Derek Carr specifically because it was similar to Travis Kelce. At first, I wasn't sure that I liked the guy, but then I realized he's actually pretty genuine, and whenever he gets in front of a mic for one of his teammates, it doesn't matter what has happened, because you mentioned all the first-round picks. He always defends them, and you know what? There's something to Derek Carr having your back, and if you're a buddy of him, you're a buddy for life.
I think it is interesting that your guys' generation, because again, you didn't see it live. I think you probably assumed that Bo Jackson was the better running back for the Raiders than Marcus Allen. And Marcus Allen was actually a much better running back.
Yeah.
And a legendary.
The Tecmo Bowl
it is.
lore.
It's right, it is. And so Bo really, he's a comet in that time. But he's on mine too, because he's the coolest. That comet burned so damn bright that to see it live, it didn't even make sense. Like the idea that you could play baseball and then just paratroop into a football season and be the best player on the field. Jack Tatum, the assassin, is on my list. He is everything about the early Raiders that you would want. Lyle Alzado, Google it, kids. That dude is, God, everything that you'd want a Raider to be. And then Kenny the Snake Snabler. I've told this story before. We were on a flight to New Orleans for the Sugar Bowl. I think it was the year we beat Arkansas. And Kenny Stabler was on the plane in the most beautiful, like, powder blue suit. And he just looked like the Snake. Just still had it. Just was
it like
so damn cool.
Leisure suit look for him?
No, it was sport coat.
Okay.
So it was 2 buttons undone on the white shirt. It was a light blue, powder blue blazer with a gray slack. And I just went, God, look at him. Spectacular. So spectacular. Did they land the plane on the alternate? A+, because they don't wear them. They have perfect uniforms. It's absolutely flawless. They wear an AFL throwback every once in a while, but it's pretty much undistinguishable from the one that they already wear. I'd buy this jersey for my kid. What do you got, Reese?
Max Crosby.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Probably the best player on the team.
Yeah.
Besides Devontae, but that, yeah. Brock Bowers stood out to me as well, but then I saw the 45 Tommy Eichenberg. 45 Raiders with Eichenberg across the back. Yeah, give me that.
NBC has a Bo Jackson jersey. He's got that one. So if that's where I would recommend if I were Raiders buying, I would go old school and get one of the cool ones. I mean, like a Woodson 24 would be for the Michigan folks out there. I know there aren't many of you, but you are. The Woodson 24 is pretty cool. This is total tank.
Yes, for sure. I mean, you can by just looking at the roster, knowing no other context, you're like, they are tanking.
Yes. Yeah. And it's probably the smart thing to do. Because otherwise you're road to nowhere.
And especially while you're still under the thumb of Mahomes in division, and the Chargers should only be getting better at the same time.
But good luck telling Antonio Pierce that.
But that's why he's perfect, don't you think, Reese? Because he'll keep them locked in. Even in the losses, he'll keep them locked in. So I think that there's a chance. Get some perspective on the division and on the Chiefs, especially with John Dixon of Arrowhead Pride. He joins us coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Common Man and T-Bone are idiots. You should listen to them anyway.
Weekdays from 3 to 6.
The Fan, Ohio's idiot destination.
Life. It's full of strange twists and unexpected surprises. But at AAA, it's always been our policy to look on the plus side. And our AAA Plus members tend to take the same view. Take Martin, for example. Last Monday, his morning coffee surprised him with an extra 10 degrees of Fahrenheit. Ouch! It was just the jolt of energy he needed to start the day. Later, when his shirt was targeted by the mustard on his burger, he became a proud trendsetter.
Martin, looking good.
And when he walked face first into a sparkling glass door, he was happy to provide some much-needed entertainment for his coworkers.
I'm okay.
And of course, when his car battery took early retirement, Martin felt no resentment. He knew there was a plus side. AAA's expert roadside assistance was only a call away.
Hello, AAA. Are you in a safe location?
While we can't all be like Martin, we can become a AAA Plus member and experience the peace of mind that comes with living on the plus side. Towing is subject to a 7-day waiting period. Terms and conditions apply.
Hey, it's Anthony for the Good Feet store. 3 words for me: pain-free summer. Spent probably 30 hours walking around the Memorial Tournament and felt awesome with my personal arch supports from the Good Feet store in my everyday kicks. Sure, every now and then we all get random foot pain from pickleball or golf or just being a human being. Having my personally fit arch supports in my shoes has made a massive difference. And even right after I put them in, didn't take long to feel much more supported and aligned, and it's so easy to just move them into any pair. Before I had them, I dreaded being on my feet for any length of time. Well, you have nothing to lose but the pain, as they say. It's a free fitting and test walk. Try them for yourself. See the difference it can make. It did for me. And best of all, you can wear them home. 2 locations on Polaris Parkway and Stringtown Road, or schedule an appointment at goodfeet.com. The Good Feet store, America's arch supports experts.
Rothman and Ice.
There's this dude I see at the gym every once in a while, and he is copper fit from head to toe.
Must feel great.
I mean, both arms, both legs.
Rothman and Ice. Weekdays at noon.
Sponsored by Pella Columbus.
The Fan.
Welcome to Nada Yada Island. This season on Nada Yada Island. You were charging your phone? I waited hours for you.
That's how long it takes.
Join Metro and get a free Motorola Edge that'll charge for the day in 15 minutes. At Metro, there's no activation fees. Only at Metro by T-Mobile.
Bring your number ID and sign up for Metro Flex Plus plan. Offer not available if at T-Mobile or have been with Metro in the past 180 days. Requires 68-watt charger, sold separately. Actual performance will vary.
Hey, Bobby Carpenter here from Carpenter Heating, Cooling, Plumbing, and Electric. We save our customers tons of money and frustration by simply inspecting their sewer, water, and drain lines with our high-tech cameras before there's a problem. Check us out at carpentercolumbus.com. That's carpentercolumbus.com.
Ah, the sounds of back-to-school time. There's plenty to about this time of year, so let Cane's take something off your plate by putting something on it, like hand-battered chicken fingers and cane sauce.
Raising Cane's chicken fingers, one love.
Ready for all those warm weather get-togethers? Fill up your grocery basket at Giant Eagle. Giant Eagle's Deals for Days program features more than 1,000 deals on your favorite items, so you can save more on what you like most. Barbecue parties, graduations, communions, they're all easier to plan when you buy at Giant Eagle. These low prices are available for a limited time at your Giant Eagle and Market District, so save today. Find more information on Deals for Days at gianteagle.com.
Direct auto insurance is for uncompromisers. Like Matt. When his old car insurance got so expensive, do you think he walked until his sneakers wore out? No, because he found savings with Direct Auto so he could drive instead of compromise. With savings of up to 25% on state minimum coverage, you too can stop compromising and keep driving. Get a free quote at directauto.com or a store near you. Savings vary, terms apply. National General Group, Winston-Salem.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Fast, sustainable weight loss without medications. The solution for weight loss. Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
Connect with the show on X at 971BFS. Jump in our YouTube chat or just send a raven. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
It's for some perspective on the AFC West and chiefly the Kansas City Chiefs. We had it on the Brian Heating Cooling Systems fan guest hotline. John Dixon joining us, the executive editor, Arrowhead Pride. John, thank you so much for taking the time. So I was looking at kind of some of this offseason dialogue, and I looked at the NFL 100 list, and I saw that Mahomes was actually behind Lamar Jackson. And to me, I know you're laughing. To me, it's like, I think he's so much better than everybody else, seconds, eighth. Have we gotten to the point where, like, he's underappreciated for a guy who's universally, I think for people who cover the sport, yeah, that's the best player in the game?
No, I don't think so. I think that's entirely a reflection of how that particular list is assembled. It's voted on by the players, of course, which actually should make it pretty good. But that voting is done a couple of weeks before the season ends. And last year, a couple of weeks before the season ended, the Chiefs had gotten to 9-6 by losing to the Raiders on Christmas Day, and they were going to be in the playoffs, but nobody really thought they would do anything. And now, of course, we know something different about how the season ended. So,
there's your context, then, John. Let me ask you this: they did something here when they won these two Super Bowls that you're not supposed to be able to do, which is, you typically don't win Super Bowls while you're kind of rebuilding the construction of your roster on the fly. They traded Tyreek Hill and won two Super Bowls. They didn't necessarily hit picks in terms of finding a weapon to replace him, although I don't know how you can. It feels like maybe they did that this year. We'll get to that in a second. How have they pulled this off the last 2 years?
Well, I think it's a question of coaching from the top. I think that Andy Reid has demonstrated on half a dozen different ways that he's one of the best guys who ever coached NFL teams ever. I think Steve Spagnuolo is a guy that is really underappreciated. I mean, he's won more Super Bowls as a defensive coordinator than any other guy, anybody. And, and one of those Super Bowl wins was against the New England Patriots when they had gone undefeated in the regular season, and they were beaten by the wild card Giants, for crying out loud. That tells you a lot about how smart Spagnuolo is. So I think it starts with that, and I think in the case of last year, I think that the roster problems that they had, the problems they had with wide receivers, were reflected in where they were when they lost that Christmas Day game to the Raiders and were suddenly 9-6. But the fact that they have coaches like Reid and Spagnuolo who know how to game plan properly and game plan best when it counts the most showed that they could, overcome that at the end of the season. They got the team off the schneid and succeeded, winning six straight games. I think that tells you a lot about how that team is built from the top down.
Yeah, certainly. The consistency's then there, the acumen's there, and then the talent is there. And you mentioned the receivers, and we were talking about that in terms of it took a minute to maybe find somebody. It feels like from 30,000 feet that they maybe found somebody here. The fastest guy in the history of the NFL Combine, Xavier Worthy, the rookie. What have you seen from him early? It's funny, just from the outside looking in, I thought, God, Lord, that's the one guy you don't want with Mahomes. What has he looked like in camp, and can he deliver on the hype?
Well, he missed some time during OTAs with a hamstring injury. And, of course, they're not going to put him on the practice field during OTAs if there's any chance he's hurt, He's too valuable for that. So he didn't really get much time until training camp. And so we haven't seen much of him until then. And, of course, in training camp, the defense isn't tackling hard. It very much favors the offense in the drills, and he looks fantastic. Is that what he's going to look like when he's on an actual NFL football field playing against players who want to hurt him, that may be a completely different thing. But so far, he looks really, really good. And I would agree with you. How did this happen? How did the rest of the league let the fastest receiver from the combine end up in Kansas City? But they did. This could end up being an amazing situation for the Chiefs, but he's like any other player who's in his first year. He's a rookie, and we don't really know how he's going to play out.
Talking to John Dixon, executive editor at Arrowhead Pride, how much do they talk about, acknowledge the three-peat conversation?
Well, more than I would if it were up for me. I think that it's a mistake to pay much attention to that because it's very hard to do, and I think it distracts from doing what's necessary to succeed in any other season. Let's be clear about this. This is a very difficult thing to do. I don't think that means that this particular season is going to be hard. It just means that it's hard to win any season. So therefore, statistically, it'd be hard to do it 3 times in a row. Here's the thing, though. The Chiefs managed to come back from a bad situation to win their second. And then coming into this season, on paper, they might be the best team that Patrick Mahomes has had, the best offense, the best defense during his time as the starter. So, that means that the three-peat is definitely possible, but we just know that it's going to be very hard to do. So I personally would tell the players, no, we're not talking about that. But Patrick Mahomes knows how to bring up those kinds of things and talk about them in an appropriate way, and I have to say that he's done it that way. He's always been respectful about how difficult it is, but says, yeah, we want it. So that's where we're at on the three-peat.
John, this has always been, long before Mahomes, before Reed, this was always one of the most revered fan bases in football. And they've always largely been very competent, really good franchise. Do fans there, when you're in the middle of this thing, and they are now, they're right in the middle of it, do you pinch yourselves? Because it's like there's no end in sight. You just said this is the best roster Mahomes has ever played with. My God, they've already got 3.
Yeah. Well, and I think that says something about Mahomes. It says something, again, about the coaching. It says something about the fan base, even, because they get a lot of support from the community. They haven't been as good at Arrowhead under Mahomes as they were in years past when their calling card was their defense. Back in the early 90s, Arrowhead was a place that nobody wanted to play. Yeah. More recently, the Chiefs have actually been better on the road, if you can believe that. So, you could say that that's because the fan base isn't as crazy as they used to be. But I think, these are still really passionate, knowledgeable fans. You're right. They're very knowledgeable. And, yes, they are pinching themselves because, yes, this has been a well-respected franchise that's been well-run for a long time, but it was a long time between Super Bowl 4 and Super Bowl 54. And, a long time without a good quarterback to lead the team and a long time between playoff victories. All those things took a long time to happen. You bet Chiefs fans are pinching themselves.
I just think they're the easiest. I think they're one of the easiest teams to root for, man. I love the way they play, love the fan base, all of it. Really appreciate your perspective today, and thank you so much for the time. Thanks, John.
I'm glad to be with you.
All right, that's John Dixon, executive editor, Arrowhead Pride, joining on the Bryan Heating and Cooling Systems fan guest hotline. We hit a little thing or not a thing up next. Bishop and Friends right here on the Fan.
Wake up with the Fan. Eat lunch with the Fan. Go to bed with the Fan. Dream about the Fan. Then change your sheets. Gross.
Ew, you guys are gross, but stick around in case I don't find anyone else.
The Fan.
Ohio, ready for some quick mental health facts? Let's go. Nearly 2 million Ohioans live with a mental health condition. In the U.S., more than 50% of people will be diagnosed with a mental illness in their lifetime. Depression is a leading cause of disability worldwide. So why are some of us still stigmatizing people living with a mental health condition when we know all of this? Let's listen to the facts and beat the stigma. Ohio, challenge what you know about mental health at beatthestigma.org.
And what is it called?
A ceiling fan.
And where is it?
It's on the floor.
And why is that a problem?
Well, see, the person who named it probably should have called it a floor. No, that's not right. The guy on TV I saw put up a ceiling fan.
Are you a TV star, Paul?
No, I'm not.
Are you an electrician, Paul?
I am not.
You are?
I am a middle management accountant, and I shouldn't be putting up ceiling fans.
You should.
Call the pros who knows.
Apex
Pros.
The pros who knows know electrical work, too. Hi, it's Alex from Apex Pros, and if you'd like us for plumbing, cooling, and heating, you're gonna love our pro electricians.
Apex Pros are on the way.
Much easier, isn't it?
I'm glad we sorted this out.
Me too.
Columbus loves the pros who knows. Schedule with one click at apexpros.com.
Wendy's new Saucy Nugs come in 7 saucy flavors. Yep, you can literally hear your taste buds going. Taste bud sounds may vary. For a whole new way to nug, gotta be Wendy's. Open till midnight or later.
At participating U.S. Wendy's, hours may vary by location.
Score a goal with the Love My Crew checking account from Pathways, the checking account that rewards you for supporting the crew. Learn more at pathwayscu.com. Pathways Financial Credit Union, official credit union of the Columbus Crew, federally insured by NCUA.
We don't talk politics on the Fan. It's divisive, fear-stoking, and negative. That's what our social media is for. Or your crazy uncle's house, or the grocery store, or you get my point. The Fan, Ohio's politics-free destination.
BreezeLine's fiber-powered 1 gig home internet for $49.99 per month offers the reliability you deserve and security you can trust. With a price lock guarantee, no contracts, and free equipment, you'll never have to think about your internet again. This deal gets even better with a $100 gift card. And now you can bundle and save when you add BreezeLine Mobile with plans starting as low as $12.50 per month per line. Act now. Terms and conditions apply. Limited time offer. Learn more at breezeline.com.
Need inspiration? Shop Kroger for over 30,000 mouth-watering choices with savings beyond low prices, like digital coupons worth over $600 each week and up to $1 off per gallon at the pump. More savings and more inspiring flavors make Kroger worth it every time. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
Check out this fresh deal on ground beef. 80% lean ground beef sold in a 3-pound roll is only $3.99 a pound with your card. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Raid wants to know, what would you do if you could confidently face every day knowing you and your loved ones are protected? Would you sing along to your favorite song at the top of your lungs? Turn off the GPS and let your heart do the guiding. Go to the drive-thru and order one of everything. Feel the buzz of confidence of knowing you are protected with 65 years of insect science in your hands. Raid. Protection for everyone.
Sorry, but we actually have a wait list for our Monstera.
Shaw's greenhouse is really bringing in the green.
We can't keep snake plants in stock.
She needs a construction manager to build on her roots and grow.
We could add a whole section for ferns, and here we'd have dahlias, dahlias, and more dahlias.
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
All your favorite fan shows are available when you want them.
Head to 971thefan.com and hit that subscribe button.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination. First Friday miracles are always better with Uncle Bo. This is Bishop and Friends.
All right, time for a little thing or not a thing. Hit it, fellas.
Thing or not a thing.
Sponsored by Apex Plumbing Pros.
All right, this one I may have to do some live editing of myself, so bear with me here because there are some swear words. But this is post the Team USA comeback against Serbia. A certain player, I'm going to leave it to you guys, so it's going to be a thing or not a thing, but also a guessing game. A certain player had to respond to a few people on X, formerly known as Twitter. It all started when Swipacam, a Denver sports analyst and writer, posted on Twitter praising Serbia for pushing Team USA to the absolute brink and adding the whole country should be proud. A certain Team USA player saw the post and responded to it with a simple question. Where are you from? That player asked Swipe a Cam, referencing the analyst praise for Serbia and seemingly lack thereof for Team USA. But it didn't stop there. A Nuggets fan then pointed out this player's response to Swipe a Cam, calling the Phoenix Suns star a scumbag and petty, insecure, little ignorant blank. Prompting this player to note, Will's upset. And it didn't stop there. It keeps going on, and there's more things. Do you know who the player is? And
yes,
not a
you didn't
thing?
even need to do Suns thing, Durant.
Easy money sniper.
Yeah. He's the best offensive basketball player I've ever seen in my life. The best. I think he's unstoppable. When healthy, I think he's unguardable, unstoppable. Most would say that. I think he's the best offensive player anyone's ever seen I'm a man of mid-40. I've never seen anybody better. He's a two-time NBA champion. He's a two-time Finals MVP. He's the most valuable player in 14. He's a 14-time All-Star, two-time All-Star Game MVP, six-time All-NBA first team. He is a five-time All-NBA second team. He's missed seasons. Otherwise, those numbers would be even bigger. He is in your let's go win starting five. He's in it. And yet, he's on social. And I don't understand it. I don't know why. He wasn't even tagged in the initial post. He sought it out.
He follows.
You sought out.
It's not even his name. It is about
It's got nothing to do with him. It's got to do with Serbia. And he's sitting here after having this monumental, really cool moment, and he's on his flipping phone looking at Twitter.
Also, it's 11:09 p.m. So he wakes up and does, because it's 11:09 p.m., which I'm assuming is like Eastern time for us. So is he doing this at 5 a.m. in Paris?
Probably 11. Is it 11:09 our time or Denver time? But either way,
it's worse if it's Denver time.
It's worse if it's Denver. Well,
right.
no, it's the other way. It's 7 a.m.
Yeah, 2 hours. Yeah.
I don't know. It's crazy. You guys don't. He made a made-for-Netflix movie called Thunder Up when he was with Oklahoma City, where it's basically Space Jam with a kid, where the kid steals Durant's powers and they have to get it back. And my kids loved it when they were little. He was one of the most likable superstars in the league, but that Golden State thing and his thin skin really put him in a different place. He was not the scowling, menacing thing that he is now. He was much more. He was really universally beloved in OKC.
This is the thing, and I hope it never changes. Like, this is the Kevin Durant that this is and will always be Kevin Durant, and we are better for it. So as long as he's not on the team you're rooting for, because on the NBA team you're rooting for, it must drive you nuts.
Also, like, so much fun because he's unguardable.
Fun.
So there's that,
so
too.
There is that, but I think we're getting to a point here where it's just like, come on, KD, just stop.
He's honestly, fellas, when people talk about, and even my wife and I, she talks about, like, what social apps should the boys have, he's an example I use of this guy is this accomplished, and this is how this affects him. Yeah. So if you think, like, your kids can handle social, no, they can't. They can't handle it.
The Iowa State Fair opened yesterday in Des Moines. On Thursday, a pig named Finnegan set a new Iowa State Fair record, weighing in at 1,420 pounds. Reddit College Football says the entire Iowa starting offensive line outweighs him by only 133 pounds. For what it's worth, the biggest pig at the Ohio State Fair was named Bob, an 8-year-old pig that weighed 1,180 pounds back in 2018. According to the Guinness World Records, the heaviest pig ever recorded was Big Bill, owned by Elias Buford Butler of Tennessee in 1933.
Of course it was.
Big Bill weighed 2,552 pounds. He was scheduled to be exhibited at the Chicago World's Fair that year. Again, this is back in 1933, but he broke his leg and had to be put down. Thing or not a thing?
I mean, I don't mean to laugh. I bet he did break his leg.
Come on. R.I.P. Big Bill.
What's your guys' experience with hogs? How many hogs you been around?
My dad works for Hormel Foods, but I have not been around the hogs myself at all.
Reese, you got any hog knowledge?
No, I'm from Upper Arlington, man.
Not a bunch of hogs running around.
Actually, check it. Put that in the open.
We've got.
You been around any hogs, Reese? No, man. I'm from Upper Arlington.
There's that the agricultural sciences place or agricultural sciences building from Ohio State, and I don't know if they still have the cow that had like the glass dome in its stomach where you could see food and other things move through it. But that was all the agriculture Eric got.
That's all you got. You were close to the egg part of the campus, though, in UA. So you got that's in your campus. That's in your neighborhood. You can. I'll tell you this.
Go Hogs.
You can. Well, I was. No, I won't. It's not worth it. But you can. You can smell a pig farm miles away.
I do know what that's
one
like.
pig farm. There's one pig farm where I grew up, and they were the only hog producers, and they were 15 miles away. But if the wind blew in a certain direction, you could smell it. I mean, there's so many. I think of Deadwood when I think of pigs. I think of the movie Snatch when I think of pigs. I think of the way that they handle that. I also, in a serious standpoint, I can't imagine this is fun for him, because I'm guessing they're just feeding him to make him big.
Yeah, that has. I mean, how else do you get pigs to be this large? And I actually, to throw another movie out there, I think of the movie Holes in it, because it's all there's a thing where he has to carry a pig up a mountain. There's a whole thing, but that would have been after your time. It's a kids movie starring Shia LaBeouf in that one. But I do know. Well, I don't know a ton about hogs. I do know a fair amount about the state of Iowa, and I love the Ohio State Fair. And I don't know if I've ever been to the Iowa State Fair, but I remember going to those ones. But there's something about it, as you get further into the Midwest, further west, the state fairs really get turned up a notch, and there's a lot of really interesting things. For those of you who don't know what a tractor pull is, well, that's very popular in that part of the country. And then also there's most years, and it's not like they're doing it for like, hey, look at us, we're on the football team. There are guys who have done this their whole life, and then they end up on the Iowa football team, usually offensive linemen, who do the hay bale throw, which is the hay bale toss, which is literally just trying to throw it as high as you can. And Iowa offensive linemen have won it before. So you get giant pigs.
That's fantastic.
Also with this big one, the record setter, what was his name? Big Bill. That was in 1933. Do you think he was just feeding him like lead, like weights?
Yeah, there's a chance that was
What was the regulation, right?
There wasn't a lot of
gross abuse of a pig.
Yeah, we weren't looking in on him a lot. It's funny. I watched Pulp Fiction recently, and the Samuel L. Jackson line from that about Travolta, but pork chop steaks good, bacon tastes good, all pretty good. Yeah.
Real quick on this, before their latest event on the Live Tour, Phil Mickelson was talking about he doesn't know for sure if he's going to be able to play at the level that he wants to. No. So I'm just going to give you this last quote. But for now, and here's where his quote starts, quote, I'm in every major on the regular tour next year, and I'll be in 3 of the 4 majors for the next 6-7 years. I would love to compete and give myself a chance to win in those, and I also want to build this out and create a culture that is sustainable and that people strive to be a part of. How do I do that? Whether it's internally as a player and so forth, or whether it's strictly from the outside. I'm going to be intricately involved with the high flyers going forward, probably the rest of my life, and then my playing career. I'll be realistic where I'm at, too. Thing or not a thing?
Not a thing, because if a tree falls in the forest and no one's watching it, does anyone notice? Nobody watches Live.
Do you think he'll really be a part of the high flyers for the rest of his life?
So I do, because
check.
Yeah,
I will,
he's got
because
equity in Live, doesn't he?
Yeah, the last line of the first paragraph here is why. So a reported $200 million contract in which he is also an equity stake. So he has ownership. So yeah, I think he could very well be like there when Norman goes away, Mickelson takes it over. That's kind of the way I view that thing going. But yeah, no one's watching them.
Yeah, it's not a thing. I do wonder like what their offer to Scotty Scheffler is or has been, because there's no golfer that's been hotter.
No, and I think that probably the guys that are on the tour are terrified because of what happened to John Rahm.
Yeah,
right. Like he basically fell off a cliff once he went to left.
Also, why isn't Olympic golf more popular? It's like the same guys.
It's like everything else. Like the agenda is set with the Peacock that's the gymnastics, the swimming, and the track. Mm-hmm. And so they feed you that, and they build the stories on that. And so the rest of it, it's kind of like, did that even happen? It's
the golf
weird,
happened in a closet. It was just over.
Totally. Yeah, the women's was yesterday. I was watching a little bit of it. Final hour of the week, what we learned coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
The only radio show Ryan Day listens to when we're holding him hostage, making him listen to a radio show. The Buckeye Show.
Weeknights at 6.
The Fan.
Right now at the Ram, make this the summer event. Well-qualified lessees get a low-mileage lease on the 2025 Ram 1500 Bighorn Crew Cab, 4x4 for $549 a month for 42 months, with $3,640 due at signing. Tax, title, license extra, no security deposit required. Call 1-877-RAM-5722 for details. Requires dealer contribution and lease through Stellantis Financial. Extra charge for miles over 35,000. Not all customers will qualify. Residency restrictions apply. Take delivery by September 3rd, 2024.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone. If you need a new roof, but you're not sure you can afford it, no problem. Right now, Able Roof is offering no payments, no interest until 2026 for qualified buyers. Yep, that's the same Able Roof that's been voted the #1 roofing company in Columbus by Consumer Choice Awards 22 years in a row. Want more? Able Roof will give you up to $1,000 off a new roof, siding, or windows. This is a limited time offer, so call Able Roof today.
Call Able for the proof. 444 Roof.
Are you ready to turn your passion for media into a career? Ohio Media School is the place for you. With hands-on training in radio, television, sports broadcasting, and digital media, you'll gain the skills and experience you need to succeed. Don't wait. Classes are starting soon. Visit beonair.com and take the free assessment to get started. Enroll today and take the first step towards your dream career. Ohio Media School. Your future in media starts here. Visit beonair.com. beonair.com. Enroll now.
Excuse me, waiter. There's a hair in my soup. A long purple hair.
I'm so sorry. I'll get the manager.
I'm the manager. How can I help?
Wait, weren't you the Plum Insurance mascot?
What gave it away? My long purple fur?
Something like that.
What if all insurance companies were like NJM and were known for putting their policyholders first, not gimmicks? Then all those insurance mascots would have to get real jobs.
I'll pass on dessert.
No jingles or mascots, just great insurance. NJM.
Are you ready to build your company's dream team? Just like in sports, finding skilled players is essential for success. With Robert Half's winning combination of specialized recruiting professionals and award-winning AI, we'll help you find the MVPs and key role players who will have you hanging banners in the rafters. Because in business, it's all about having the experienced team on your side. At Robert Half, we know talent. Visit roberthalf.com today.
We could try to explain what it feels like to get your work done on a John Deere. The way a Z-Track mower finishes in half the time you thought it would. Or how much easier it is to move mountains of soil with the 1 Series tractor. We could even go into detail about how it feels to tow up to 4,000 pounds behind a Gator XUV. But if you really want to know what it's like to run with us, you just have to get in the seat. Learn more at johndeere.com/get-in-the-seat or visit a dealer near you.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus. The Fan. Sports Center.
Good morning. I'm Eric Reeser. A pair of Buckeye quarterbacks will be in action tonight as the NFL preseason rolls along. Steelers host the Texans at 7 o'clock. Justin Fields will start for Pittsburgh. C.J. Stroud will go for Houston. The Browns and Bengals kick off preseason play Saturday. Cleveland hosts Green Bay tomorrow at 4:25. You can hear that one on the Fan with coverage at 4 o'clock. Tomorrow night in Cincinnati, the Bengals host the Buccaneers at 7. Joe Burrow is expected to start there. In football, the Columbus Crew are back at Lower.com Field hosting Sporting Kansas City tonight at 7:30. It's the round of 32 in League's Cup. Winner gets Inter Miami next week in the round of 16. Likely no Messi for that one. And in baseball, the Guardians begin a 4-game series against the Twins with a doubleheader on Friday. First pitch from Minneapolis in Game 1 is 2:10. Guardians enter the weekend series leading Minnesota by 3.5 games in the Central. This update is sponsored by Dr. Mark Levy. If you're snoring and not sleeping, give Dr. Mark Levy a call at 1-800-MORE-SLEEP or visit him online at sleepbettercolumbus.com.
After putting up with Dom Tiberi for a decade, the broadcast gods gave Bo these two. This is Bishop and Friends.
Boy, every once in a while you get to the end of the week and you go, oh yeah, all that happened. And this is one of those weeks. Go ahead and hit it, boys.
We're not trying to do too much around here, but over the course of 5 days, you might have gleaned some stuff. Bishop and Friends present What We've Learned This Week.
I don't even know, like, if you were saying what was the biggest story of the week that we got, like, an answer to. I mean, what dominated the week was certainly the college football stuff. It was the Harbaugh. It was the penalty of the NCAA. The Emperor has no clothes. All of that. That was probably the most talked about. The Buckeye quarterbacks. You know, the one thing I think we learned very clearly this week, not just what Ryan said yesterday, but kind of in the lead up to it, is that Will Howard was certainly the head and shoulders guy, that there is separation here, that the room is seeing it, and that it's being reflected in the way that they're handling practices. So all of that is stuff that was stuff that we talked about a lot. There was a ton going on in the NFL. I mean, the Ayuk deal was 10 days ago. It kind of felt like it was going to be done, that he was going to be a Cleveland Brown. And then there was a little bit of issue in terms of compensation, and the Browns were very firm on that. The Browns unveiled a dome stadium, so that happened there as well. You got the Olympic stuff. We got naming rights for Ohio Stadium. So many things happened this week. If I were to ask you guys from the perspective of where you sit, what was the overwhelming story of the week?
So I wrote a lot of these down that you just went over, and as I kept going, usually it's like 4, and there were 6 here, and I just stopped looking and thinking about it. For me personally, it's probably still the Olympics that I'm watching the most and taking in the most. But then on top of that, all the other ones were a little easier to push into the back of my head, except for the Jim Harbaugh, Michigan, NCAA one. Because we talk about Michigan so much. We talk about Jim Harbaugh so much. We talk about how the NCAA operates so much. So that one just has so many different ways for me to be interested in different angles for me to take it in. So I think that's the one that dominated as far as like the coverage. Because I think the last 3 days I've read at least one article about Michigan and NCAA each day.
I think for me, the Olympics, obviously, Noah Lyles and winning fastest man on the planet. And then with the 200-meter dash finishing, but collapsing. And, is he going to – he's got events he can run in. I think they got the 4x1 or at least the finals of that. But, yeah, it's like you shouldn't with that. So everything with the Olympics has kind of been at the forefront for me. I forget. It might have been Tuesday or Wednesday. It was Wednesday. I rage quit the Cleveland Guardians. Because they're on a 5-game losing streak, and they lost all 3 to the Arizona Diamondbacks. So, like, Wednesday, I was like, no, I'm done for now. The 4 games against the Twins this weekend, so.
So, do you guys, can I just, on the Lyles thing, so I watched that live to tape last night. I watched it.
Did you know what had happened beforehand?
Yes, I did. And even in the context of the positive COVID, I think it felt a little showmanshipy with how he was acting rolling around on the field. And like he went like Paul Pierce with the.
Are you doing the wheelchair game now?
Wheelchair game. I was like, okay. And again, I had the context. I knew he had tested positive for COVID. To my knowledge, I have not had it. I don't know how. Everybody else I know has had it. I have not had it to my knowledge. Possible I have it now. I don't know. But it just felt. I don't know. It felt like I'm sure that there's no question he was affected. I'm not questioning that. Definitely affected. It was the slowest he's run in a long time. There's no question. But it felt like it's like they kept trying to, if you watch them, they kept trying to get him off the field. And he kept kind of saying no. Like I watched all of it because I was curious. And they kept showing him. And the officials were like, okay, let's get you off. Let's get you in the wheelchair. And he's like, no. Then he kept going to the ground. And I'm like, well, wait a second. I'm pretty sure you could walk off. I think there's no question. Then finally they got him off. Then he came back out to talk to Lewis Johnson later with the mask on. He had an unbelievable Olympics, and he no doubt would have run the 200 had he not tested positive. But it did seem like he really kind of accentuated it after the race.
Yeah, and remember, he got everybody looking at him before a lot of his events when he was talking about seeing the world champions for the NBA, which I thought those were fine comments. I think that is something that you could say sometimes. The NBA at least has one international team, but no. Yeah, they're not playing against the world, but the world comes to them. It's a really confusing thing, but I don't have a problem with that he said that, and at least he had to go out there and win 1 gold in this. He got the bronze in the event you're talking about, but it's hard in your own head with this, like, we're all just so, like, conspiracy brained now to at least jump to it, and the fact that, like, he knew beforehand that he had tested positive and then ran and did all that, that's what makes you question it.
Did you guys see it? Did that seem genuine to you? All of it?
I gotta be honest, I didn't think about that in the moment.
Were you watching live or tape? Did you have the
I didn't have the information watching it to tape. Like I hadn't, because I'd been it was the basketball that I had been watching.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, that looks not great.
Yeah. No, it looked, if you didn't have the context of COVID, you would have thought, is he going to be okay?
Yeah.
Like,
whereas the guy who, like, completely spent himself on he kind of collapsed too. The 400 we were talking about, the American.
Yeah, for sure.
He kind of collapsed at the end too, but it wasn't like that.
No, So, and then I guess what struck me was just it felt like the officials kept trying to get him off, and he would not leave. He did not want to leave the camera views, So that was it. But it's been a fun Olympics. I've enjoyed it. I've watched it with the family. It's funny, even knowing the results of things I knew Cindy McLaughlin won gold. I knew that, and yet I still wanted to stay up last night to watch it live to tape and watched the presentation of it. So it hasn't wrecked it. It's been awesome. On the Ohio State side of things, you're inching closer. We had that Ryan Day sound from earlier today, inching closer to Will Howard. It sounds like you're going to need, if it just continues with the scrimmage on Saturday, then you could get something. Will they have to announce it officially? I don't know. I know, Reese, you're a big proponent of that. I think you're going to get that at some point. I don't know what the deadline would that to be on that front. But the one thing I did think was interesting from the observations yesterday was it sounded like Will took all the ones. Yeah. Devin took all the twos, and then Julian Sayin did get one round of reps with the ones. And so I think if you connect dots and just think about future planning here, in an ideal world for Ryan Day, Will Howard is your starting quarterback this year. Devin Brown is your backup. There will obviously be attrition, and then heading into 2025, you pass the baton to Julian Sayin. Tavian St. Clair is coming in. I'm guessing you'd want one of either Will Nolan, Lincoln Keenholz, or Devin Brown to stick around. I can't imagine Devin would, even though he's burning the boats. I can't imagine that if you don't play at all and then this kid's coming that you would stick, but who knows? But that's probably the future planning on this. I know how they think of Julian Sayin, that he's got a level of talent and acumen that is rare. So he feels like the next 2-year guy after you get through this year with Will, and hopefully that ends with the national title.
Yeah, it really sounds like Julian Sayin is jumping off the field. I guess that's the version of jumping off the page to them, that they are looking at him and practicing going, the 5-star was correct on this guy. So hopefully he can continue to develop over this year and be ready to take over for the Buckeyes, possibly next season. And then, you would be guaranteed most likely those 2 years. And the other thing that makes it feels like Howard is the starter, and they're going forward with that. It's not just that he was with the ones the whole time, which is a huge tell of it, but the reason why Sayin came in was because Howard threw a pick to Denzel Burke. Yeah. And then they go, oh, yeah, Mr. Starter, the freshman's in on you. That seems choicey to me as well.
Don't forget, the backfield includes Travion Henderson and Quinshon Judkins.
Yeah.
And also the 2 freshmen, Williams, Dixon, and Peoples, have been really impressive. So just the idea that you've got a wide receiver room as talented as it is. You've got a running back room as talented as it is. You've got a quarterback room that's as talented as it is. Could Ohio State win the national championship with 3-4 of those quarterbacks? Either one of them starting with everything else?
It'll be third downs and red zone. Be clutch. You're going to have to be clutch in those moments. The other thing I think that we probably learned this week is the blueprint that the NCAA is going to use on Michigan is to go at Harbaugh and
make it seem really hard.
Make it seem like it's harsh. It's not. It's not going to be harsh. It's not harsh to suspend and give somebody a 4-year show cause or a 4-year probation and a 1-year show cause based on the idea that he's never going to coach in college football again. So it is a punishment that does not at all come into port. It just floats around in the sea forever. Will they hit the program a little bit more with some of the Spygate stuff as repeat offenders? Who knows? This is the one thing that you can say from our perspective and there's that quote where Harbaugh told a staffer, go up to the line and then cross it. There was a desperation that came after losing all of those times to Urban and then to Ryan. There was a desperation in 2020 in the COVID year when they said, actually, we don't want to play the biggest game in the history of college football. We're not going to play it this year, and they skipped it. And Harbaugh went all in. And he kind of covered his tracks in the sense that not only did he say go up to the line and cross it, he did that. They did cross it in multiple ways. In this and then the Stallion stuff, they crossed it routinely. He played dumb on all of it. All the while, he was working on his escape plan every offseason from 2020 to 2024 before he finally got hired by the Chargers. He was trying to get NFL jobs. He was interviewing for NFL jobs actively. I think as soon as he beat Ohio State in 21, he was trying to get out of Dodge. He was trying to get out then. That's when he interviewed for the Vikings gig.
On National Signing Day.
On National Signing Day. So, he wanted to leave Michigan on a high note. I don't think even in his wildest dreams did he think it would end the way that he did and get the full Danny Ocean where he steals from the Mirage, the MGM Grand, and the Bellagio. But there was no question that he was cheating on multiple fronts across the board. And guess what? You ask Michigan people, they're cool, man. They're cool with it. Like, whatever these punishments are, they got to witness what they witnessed last year. I'm guessing Harbaugh's cool on it. We'll play a little sound from him coming up next. But this is never going to hit in the way that we all want it to. And I think the closest that they can get to it is if they show cause Sharon Moore, if they give him some sort of postseason ban, be it this year or the next year. That's probably the closest. You mentioned the fine. That if it's big enough, that could be. If it's really huge, like $75 million or something like that, that type of thing could be. But it's just not going to ever be satisfactory from a Buckeye fan perspective.
I've thought even more about the postseason ban because I don't know if you heard, Tim May and I went back and forth a little bit on that last week. And I still don't like it as a punishment because I think it transfers too much direct punishment to people who didn't do this, and that's the players. And people say, well, they can just transfer. Well, some players still make their decisions based on academics. I don't think they can just transfer is a good reason to say we should do something that's detrimental to the players who, again, didn't, especially like the new freshmen, they didn't do this at all. The other thing I think it is anti-competitive to a sport because what if Michigan is good in the years that they have it and they aren't being able to filter into the 12-team playoff? Aren't we supposed to crown the best team? So I do not like the idea of postseason bans, but I do like the idea of taking away their payouts from the postseason. Hit them where it hurts. Why does the university continue to do this stuff at such a high level? Yes, they like to brag about winning national championships, of course, but it's the money that these football programs bring in. So hit them in the pocketbook. That's the point of the program.
That's a different conversation, though, in terms of what punishment is just. What you're looking for is that what I think Buckeye fan is looking for is what is the sweet spot on the punishment that feels like it's fair for us. How do you hurt them the most?
That's the Buckeye fan by going out there and winning as the Buckeyes when they're playing their best ball.
The way that you hurt them is you send their program back into an abyss. That's how you hurt them the most. The money, the average fan isn't going to feel the money. You and I know about the money. The people running the athletic departments know about the money. But the way you hurt them most is to say, you can't play for this anymore. That's where you hurt them the most. So I understand what you're talking about in terms of, this has always been the problem with the NCAA. Because the people who do this stuff, they leave. And so you never can get them the way that you want to. It's the problem with the sport, among many. We'll hear from Harbaugh on this. Also, ESPN put out their 10 college football teams with the most NFL draft talent. To the surprise of no one, it is littered with Buckeyes. We'll tell you who and where they are expected to be picked. That's next. Bishop and Friends, right here on The Fan.
A lot of hosts have been on our airways in the past 30 years. Some good, some bad, some really bad. Anyway, sorry for that. The Fan.
One thing about us parents, we think we know what's in, but we're usually way off. That's why I take my kids to Great Clips for back-to-school haircuts. From fresh fades to beachy waves, they can use the online lookbook to find the cuts they want at prices I can't resist. Plus, with convenient online check-in, we save tons of time, too. I may never know what's cool again, but hey, with back-to-school haircuts at Great Clips, I don't have to. Download the app today. Great Clips. It's gonna be great.
Did your mobile provider just increase their prices again? Switch to Spectrum Mobile, the nation's fastest growing mobile provider. With Spectrum Mobile, you get unlimited talk, text, and data, plus nationwide 5G. Switching to Spectrum Mobile has never been easier. We'll pay off your phone balance up to $2,500. Stop dealing with price hikes from your cell phone company. Get Spectrum Mobile. Visit spectrum.com/itpays-to-switch for full details. Offer subject to change. Service not available in all areas. Restrictions apply.
Hey, it's Bobby. When it comes to tackling a project as important as your roof, you want a company that cares about the product and experience they're going to deliver. At Newman Roofing, you're more than just a number. They believe in 100% customer satisfaction. And for your roofing needs, give them a call at 614-NEW-ROOF or newmanroofing.com.
When you have to stop but don't really want to, stop at BP. Because BP has everything you need to keep it going. Fuel to keep the adventures going. The BP Me app to keep the savings and the commutes going. Snacks and drinks to keep the crew going. And the BP Me Rewards Visa to keep the rewards going and going and going. A stop at BP isn't a stop at all. Keep it going.
Hey there, friends. Bo Bishop here from my friends at High Bank Distillery Co., located right here in Columbus. Introducing their newest product, 614 Vodka, Ohio's house vodka. Perfect to make a drink at home or try when you're out at your favorite local restaurant. Learn more at 614vodka.com.
Guess what? Our ugly faces are on YouTube. Search 971 The Fan and watch all your favorite shows. Laptop, phone, tablet, smart TV, we're everywhere. Bring us in the bedroom with you. Yes, The Fan. Get Eco.
ECO. Hey, Aaron. Hey, Jerry. Pretty hot this summer, huh?
This kind of heat makes me want to invent something that cools everything off.
Well, they did invent the air conditioner.
Get Eco.
ECO. Get Eco today, and we'll fix your AC today.
Your house will be cool like snow.
Cool like an ice rink.
Fixed in a blink.
Faster than you can think.
Our plumbers can even fix your sink.
Well, plumbing won't help much with the heat. But yeah, we can fix your sink and anything else that has pipes attached to it.
Get Eco.
ECO.
When your house is cool, your people are cool.
Our HVAC technicians can be at your house today and quickly repair your air conditioner today.
Fix the sink and cool off with a drink. Ooh, I need to invent a new drink.
I'll bring the ice.
Get Eco.
ECO.
Get Eco.
ECO.
Get Eco.
ECO.
Eco plumbers, electricians, and HVAC technicians.
GetEco.com.
Now is a great time to schedule a back-to-school dental appointment. Dr. Manny Chopra, president of the Ohio Dental Association, is here to tell us more.
Your child's teeth and gums need the right food, nutrition, and vitamins to grow strong and stay healthy. Help them maintain good oral health by brushing every morning and night, flossing, visiting the dentist twice a year, and developing good eating habits. As kids head back to school, it's important to know that foods and drinks high in sugar, acidity, and other cavity-promoting substances are often low in nutritional value and have the potential to create plaque capable of damaging tooth enamel. A back-to-school dental appointment can diagnose any potential problems and improve your child's oral health. Ohio Dental Association member dentists are located throughout the state, are dedicated to providing the highest quality dental care, and are bound by the highest ethical standards. Ask if your dentist is a member of the Ohio Dental Association so you know you're being treated by the best. To find an ODA dentist in your area, please visit oda.org.
Don't let a cold, sinus infection, or allergies ruin your day. Breathe easier, sleep better, and feel healthier with Navage. Visit Navage.com, Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, or a store near you.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Skies are clear and sunny. Temperatures on the rise. Highs today back to the low 80s, but humidity falls to the afternoon. So 84 will feel nice and refreshing by the end of the day. Tonight, temperatures fall down into the 50s, 70s for highs as we head into the weekend. I'm meteorologist Madison Reich with your weather impact forecast on The Fan.
Pull up a stool and ask the bartender for something neat because Uncle Bo is on the radio. This is Bishop and Friends.
And the new fan store is open. Head to 971thefan.com. You will see it there. Fan t-shirts have a real cool retro Will Howard one. It feels like he'll be started before you know it. We're working on some stuff that is specific for this program as well. So you'll have that to look forward to, which is very, very nice. Do we want to hear from Harbaugh on this? Is it necessary, or is it just like
it's a nonsense one? He doesn't say anything. It's not as fun as the outright denial one we got, which is so funny that we had that earlier in the week, and then 2 days later he gets a 4-year show cause, which doesn't mean anything for where he's at.
No,
but it does confirm that, like, hey, an investigation happened, and they said you did this.
Yeah, it's just unfortunately there's nowhere to hit it. There's nowhere to hit Harbaugh.
No.
And when the NCAA president said last year, like, we're not going to take this away, like this all happened, we're not taking it away. So then, to her who did it, you're not going to get that. It's not going to happen. I did see this. ESPN put out their kind of their talent tiers in college football. Jordan Reed is really good on the NFL draft and just the talent around college football. And to the surprise of nobody, the teams that you would expect are really, really talented and loaded on this list. So he has them in tiers. Tier 1, Georgia Bulldogs, number 1. Mikael Williams, he has as the top prospect to know, and then a sleeper prospect in Jared Wilson. The game he has circled is the Texas game. On Carson Beck, the quote is this: think Goff coming out of Cal. They have a lot of similarities. So there's the Beck comparison for you to Jared Goff. So they were number 1 on this list. And then at the end of it, they kind of have projected first-round picks. 3 Georgia Bulldogs projected in the first round. Total draft picks 16. Number 2 on the list, your Ohio State Buckeyes. Denzel Burke is your prospect to know. Sleeper prospect to watch for them is Josh Simmons. Obviously, the Oregon game is the game to watch. JT Tuimoloau appears to be the guy that has the highest possibility to lift his potential in terms of where he's drafted. This is a quote from an NFC area scout. If we could make every game the Penn State game, he'd be a top 15 pick. That's kind of what we talk about. It's just consistency.
He'd have to be the number 1 pick if every game was the Penn State game.
It's just the it's the consistency with him. The crazy thing here is Ohio State's going to have a ton of guys drafted, but I don't know how many first-rounders. It's possible they could only have 1 or 2 first-rounders, but have a bunch of guys drafted. Certainly part of that is because they don't draft running backs high anymore, but Quinshon Judkins, Travion Henderson obviously going to get drafted. Emeka Buka is going to get drafted. He needs to have a year. He's got to have a little bit of a year. They talk about Donovan Jackson here, Seth McLaughlin. Predicted first-rounders, just 2. So Burke and Tuamoloau are the 2 that they project in the first round. A total, though, of 14 drafted picks, 2 behind Texas.
Okay. You're talking about he needs to have a year, and it's because 2 years ago, everybody saw what Emeka Buka could do, but he was sitting behind Marvin Harrison, so he was outshined then, dealing with the injuries last year, didn't get to fully live up to what we expected from him, and now he gets to be the number 1. Obviously, still a ton of talent around him, but he's going to be the guy, and he should be the next in this lineage of Ohio State wide receivers. So I think he has a really strong potential to also jump in to the first round if he has a good year, not just because of what he's done and then what he would do this season if those stats are that impressive, but people have seen that, the Brian Hartline train going into the NFL, it works. Draft those guys.
Yeah. There's no needed time to get acclimated to the NFL. They come in, they're ready to go day one.
So just for some food for thought, Texas is ranked here as well as a tier 1 team. They mentioned Quinn Ewers as either a second or third round pick, but could play himself into a first. So they do have Texas in tier 1. So it's Georgia, Ohio State, Texas, Notre Dame in tier 1 in terms of the NFL draft. And that's because their lines of scrimmage are so good. Just 1 predicted first round pick, but 11 total draft picks. So leading tier 2 is Michigan in tier 2. And this is something Doug's talked about a lot when we have him on in terms of the overall talent that they still have defensively. So for perspective, remember Georgia had predicted 3 first round picks. Michigan has 4 first round picks predicted on their roster this year. When you think about who they have up front, who they have at corner, 4 of them, a total of 8 draft picks in 2025 for them. Ole Miss is in this tier as well. A lot of that is transfers. LSU comes in this tier on the list as well. You're going, well, wait a second, where's Oregon? Some of that is a lot like Ohio State. It's their younger talent that is really coming. So Oregon is very sustainable in that sense. Other Big Ten teams mentioned, Penn State is actually the leader in tier 3. So they're on that with 9 predicted picks. You're saying, well, where's Bama? Bama is all the way down in tier 3. They probably haven't been in tier 3 ever. They have 0 predicted first-round picks, 9 total drafted. We get Oregon in this tier as well in terms of 1 predicted first, 8 overall, and that's it. That's the list. No more Big 10 teams in that ranking.
Wonder if Jalen Milroe improves his passing game enough if somebody gets enticed to take him in the first round. Like if he has a really good season and he's he's one of those super athlete type guys at quarterback. So if his passing game looks a little bit better this year, I think maybe he's an opportunity for Bama to get that first rounder. There was another one that you said, Penn State. Drew Aller, what does he come up in that? Where is he kind of graded right now? He's not one of their first rounders or
eligible.
It's got to be. It's his 3rd season. He was there.
His 3rd. He redshirted. You're right. He redshirted. Let me see what they write about Aller, if they even address it at all. All right. Drew Aller's one of the biggest passing quarterbacks in this class, 6'5", 243. Needs to play better against top competition. He completed only 44% of his passes against Ohio State and Michigan. If he improves there, he has the pocket presence, accuracy, and base to rise from a current late day 2, early day 3 status.
Okay.
So he could be a 2nd, 3rd round pick. The guy who's kind of the sleeper for them is a guy who, man, he flashes and you go, that guy's, it's Nick Singleton is kind of the one to watch. He's always flashed, but you just consistently, it just hasn't been there. And some of that is the way that James Franklin goes about his business, right? I mean, just kind of the way they play offensive football doesn't really fit.
But it's different this year. They got a different offensive coordinator. I guess also, Ohio State talent, Julian Fleming. Keep an eye on him from Penn State from a draft aspect.
I don't know if there's much there left.
Yeah, late round. Sunday guy or Saturday.
Can he finally convert the recruiting acumen into this? And if Drew Aller has a good season, won't Julian Fleming have a good season?
Well, he will. But I think that the thing you're missing with Julian is he just doesn't have elite traits.
Yeah.
That's something that sometimes he's a really good player, and I think he'll be really good for them. I think, he could be a 1,000-yard receiver. That's probably in play, just in terms of the at-bats he's going to get over there. But the elite traits he's probably lacking in, and that's what keeps it going. But look, this is a pretty simple game here. If you have a lot of talent, you're going to be good. Recruiting's it. These are rosters that are really loaded. I was surprised that Oregon was down as far as they were on the tier. And I was also surprised at Notre Dame's inclusion. So it went Georgia, Ohio State, Texas, or Notre Dame We're the only 4 teams in Tier 1 on that list. We'll get Doug's take on that, his take on the week that was in college football coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Ready. This Ohio State football training camp report is brought to you locally on The Fan by Weber Grills.
Ohio State football. Training camp report.
And this report is brought to you statewide by Safelite Auto Glass and Bob's Discount Furniture. As Ohio State heads into the weekend, everybody's still wondering what's going on at the quarterback position. Head coach Ryan Day said while no decision's been made, Will Howard is starting to show strongly.
We've been mixing it up a little bit, but you're starting to see he and Devin get a little bit more lion's share of the reps with the ones. I will say that he's taken command of the huddle at the line of scrimmage. I think he's much more confident out there. No decisions have been made. We're gonna probably scrimmage a little bit on Saturday. By then we'll take an evaluation and kind of see where we're at.
That is in reference to both Will Howard and Devin Brown. We'll have more after this.
At Bob's Discount Furniture, when you find a complete dining set that seats 6 and comes with an extendable leaf for only $5.99.
Oh my, Bob.
And a sofa that doubles as a chaise, and a bed, and storage like my Playscape for only $9.99.
Oh my, Bob.
And a queen mattress with world-famous Bobapedic memory foam and an 18-year warranty like my Treasure for only $7.99.
Oh my, Bob.
Well, there's only one thing to say.
Oh my, Bob.
Bob's Discount Furniture, proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Hi, this is Paul Keels. This Buckeye season, don't let a broken windshield ruin your game plan. Safelite Auto Glass makes it easy to get your windshield fixed with their mobile glass shops all over Central Ohio. They can come to you anywhere, giving Buckeye fans more time for game time. OH? Man, I love that. Schedule at safelite.com. Safelite Auto Glass is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Safelite repair, Safelite replace.
As Ohio State coach Ryan Day addressed the quarterback situation late in the week, he talked about how Will Howard is starting to show some of his ability and how some of the changes that he's made really dates back through the offseason.
I think this preseason you've noticed a total command of the offense. He's put some work in, I think, this summer, not only on his body, and by the way, I think it was 2% body fat that he changed, and so that part was big, but also just understanding of the offense. He's worked on his throwing mechanics, but if you just said, give me the one thing that looks different this preseason, it's his command of the offense, the way that he's making decisions, and his movement.
And again, Ryan Day indicating no decision has been made at this point on the starting quarterback, but he's starting to see Will Howard assert himself in some things. There's still Devin Brown, who's part of the picture, a backup from the last couple of years, and Lincoln Kienholz and true freshman Julian Sayin and Aaron Nolan are all part of the overall plan. Season opener for the Buckeyes is August 31st against Akron. We'll have another report next week. This is Paul Keels on the Ohio State Sports Network from Learfield.
The drums bang, the flame sparks, the trumpets blow, the hot dogs sizzle, the crowd cheers, the fans eat. The sounds of Buckeye football are synonymous with the best damn band in the land in the stadium and the Weber Grills outside the stadium. Weber is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics. To celebrate another season, Weber is launching a limited edition Ohio State grill, inspired by our Buckeye helmets. Get the best damn grill in the land at Ohio area retailers near you ahead of the football season.
Hey, Buckeye fans, Paul Keels here for my other favorite nation, Window Nation. I just scored some new windows from Window Nation. What an amazing difference. Can't wait to start saving on those energy bills. Right now, they have an incredible offer just for Ohio State fans. Receive 2 windows free with every 2 you buy. Plus, put 0 down, make 0 payments with 0% interest for 2 years. Watch your Buckeyes in comfort this season with new windows from Window Nation. Call today at 866-90-NATION or visit them online at windownation.com. Tell them Paul sent you.
Ah, the sounds of back to school time. There's plenty to about this time of year, so let Cane's take something off your plate by putting something on it, like hand-battered chicken fingers and cane sauce.
Raising Cane's chicken fingers, one love.
Direct Auto Insurance is for uncompromisers, the people who refuse to make trade-offs in life. Like Kelly, when her old car insurance got so expensive that she couldn't afford to drive anymore, do you think she started carrying her groceries for miles? No. But she did find Direct Auto's savings that allowed her to drive instead of compromise. With savings of up to 25%, you too can stop compromising and keep driving. Get a quote today at directauto.com. Savings based on applied discounts and will vary. Terms apply. How you buy can affect price. National General Group, Winston-Salem.
This is Corey Sickles with Safe Harbor Wealth Advisors. Loads and fees erode your retirement savings. Let us show you how to protect your nest egg. Visit safeharboroh.com to schedule a complimentary meeting. safeharboroh.com.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Fast, sustainable weight loss without medications. The solution for weight loss. Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
If you love a good pie analogy,
think of the cap as a pie. And once you take out one piece, there's less left for the next guy.
Then this is the radio show for you. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
And it is a Friday. It's 11:30. Time for our weekly conversation with our good buddy Doug Lesmerises, the podcast, Kings of Columbus, Kings of the North. He joins us on the Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems fan guest hotline. Hey, buddy, if we are to acknowledge that I think what most Buckeye fans would want out of the Michigan punishment is take their titles, take their banners, take their wins, acknowledge that that's not coming. What would be a punishment that would hit home for Buckeye fans, and even more importantly, the people that run the Buckeye football program? What would suffice?
The knowledge that you can tell your friends who are Michigan fans that they won by cheating. Public flogging. But your own internal ability to know that when you make fun of your friend at the barbecue, you have evidence. I am encouraging Ohio State fans to not rely on the punishment as the thing that will make them feel better. I think the knowledge that, everybody, we're now past the point. Everybody acknowledges Connor Stallions did it, and everybody acknowledges that it broke the rule. And you can just look at this very strong circumstantial evidence that it made Michigan better at football. So to rely on the NCAA to punish somebody in a way, you have the internal knowledge. And so I think you have to rely on that and not wait for, I don't even know, I hope the fine for the University of Michigan is $7 million and not $5 million, and that'll make me feel better. That's not how it's going to go. So just know in your heart that they did it.
Yeah, the best that I've come up with just talking to folks is some sort of thing that just punishes them right now significantly, show cause Sharon Moore, no recruiting. I don't know, that type of stuff feels like it, but are you really punishing the people that did it? But that's the NCAA. There's really nothing that they can do with people who have left. And Harbaugh in this instance is Danny Ocean. He got away with all of it, and he gets his casinos, and that's the way that it goes. So there's not much you can do.
The court of public opinion, I think, matters. Does it matter to you or no?
Well, do this. Find some, and I got plenty of buddies who went to Michigan or are big-time Michigan fans, half dozen of them. If you ask them honestly, all right, let's just acknowledge, for the sake of this conversation, will you acknowledge that this took place? Would you do it again? And they will all say, everybody I've asked said yes. Because they got away. They got it. They got that magical season. And so you can say, and they also, that's why that last Michigan-Ohio State game was so critical, because they were caught, they were pinched, and they still got the win, and it just timed out for them. That's why it's also fortuitous that their best team under Harbaugh was his last.
So, and that's all in the past, and I'm glad the Big Ten at least did something in the moment last year. But I think Ohio State fans are better positioned than average college football fans, because the national title, they did win in the playoff without the stuff, right? But they flipped the rivalry with the Connor Stallions information. True. So if a Michigan fan says to an Ohio State fan, 3 in a row, the idea of but you cheated to do it, is a very quick and easy, and I think factual response. And so I think that matters. There's a lot of things in life that punishment is one thing, but 20 years down the road, how will things be viewed? I don't know if you'll remember the punishment, but you'll remember how it made you feel. Yeah. And so I think it's legacy tarnishing. I think that matters. I don't know that anybody outside of Michigan will ever think it's cool. Sometimes some of the teams that cheated in the past, if they were paying players or stuff, 20 years later, they almost thought it was cool, right? Like, oh, man, they were outlaws. I don't know that that's how the world will view Michigan, but I just think Ohio State fans, with the knowledge, everybody knows he did it. And how big was the conspiracy? I don't know. Did they do it? Yes. Did it give them an unfair edge? Yes. Okay, that's cheating. Keep that in your pocket and let that soothe you in some way, because the punishments aren't going to soothe you.
No, it's not. And I think one of the warm blankets over this for a Buckeye fan perspective is you have arguably the most talented roster in the country that you're going to watch this season. You got another chance to watch. It feels like we're obviously trending in a way that it's going to be Will Howard. Do you think it's important that Ryan Day makes that public sooner rather than later, or does it matter?
I think the way the quarterback situation unfolded last year and the result of that quarterback situation, which was both were not what anybody wanted, I don't think. I think that does matter. I think that lingers a little bit. I think, like, sort of the benefit of the doubt that existed last year with, oh, man, they're kind of going in the last week with this. Oh, Ryan Day's got it. Ohio State's going to have a good quarterback. It's two good options. Don't worry about it. And then the quarterback play wasn't up to the standard. So name it. Get it out of the way. Like, name the guy. Let him take the number one reps for the last 2 weeks of camp. Let everybody on the team know. Let everybody in the world know. This is our guy. Let's roll with him. That's what Ryan, I think, wanted to do last year, and it didn't work out that way. I almost think it's what he has to do this year, and I think absolutely, right? Everybody thinks that. We're trending to a Will Howard announcement next week, probably, maybe early next week.
Yeah, it does feel that way. I don't know if I would have said that a week ago, but a lot's changed in a week, obviously. Any other thing jump out at you? Were you there yesterday getting a look at things? Anything jump out?
I'm of the north now, Bo, so actually I was at Cincinnati practice yesterday.
You were?
I were.
Mighty Bearcats.
I was
Mighty Bearcats.
I was in Nashville for the recruiting symposium for 3 days. Like, I'm out and about. They're excited about Joe Royer at Cincinnati, I'll tell you that. Former Buckeye.
There you go.
Popping. They're very excited. And Kai Stokes is going to start for Cincinnati.
I saw you doing some Penn State content too. Over the last week. What did you learn there?
Yeah, they have to let it go. Like Andy Kotelnicki, the new offensive coordinator there, they have to attack people down the field. I think he'll be an aggressive guy, and they have opportunity. They don't have great receivers necessarily, but they have a lot in place, and it's a little bit of a if not now, when situation, I think, for Penn State. But if they free up Abdul Qadir on defense to kind of roam and attack people, he has a chance to have a gigantic season getting after the quarterback. And then they have to take some chances and be aggressive on offense, and that's I think they'll feel good about their offensive line. They like their running backs. They like their tight ends. Like they're primed for this. And so it's almost one of those, it's not do or die, but, man, everything has lined up for Penn State to make the playoff this year. And if they don't, it will be quite disappointing for them, I think.
Doug, do you think that fan base wants it enough? The alumni, the boosters?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those. So this is the other underlying thing of the Michigan thing, right? It's like
right.
They did it. Oh, they did it. But also, even from afar, it's like, man, they got after it. Like a tip of the cap of like you were willing to push it in a way you were never willing to push it before. And when we do Kings of the North, when you and I have North-South conversations, that's part of the conversation. How far is the North willing to push it? Win at all costs. Michigan won at all costs. Mm-hmm. So is that everybody cheat? Everybody in the North should cheat now. That's the lesson of all of this. Okay, not that exactly, but how hard are you willing to push it? I mean, they went out and they got a new offensive coordinator. Like they probably could try to be more aggressive in the portal still, but Ohio State's always been an example to everybody up here in the Big Ten. Michigan's another example now, and if Penn State ever thought to themselves, we can't be Ohio State, they can be Michigan, and Michigan just did it. So maybe it is a lesson of maybe they got to push the pedal down a little bit harder, but I don't know. Like, I think they want to win, but do they really want to do all the things? And it doesn't mean having a Navy spy on your sidelines, but just getting after it with NIL in the portal, maybe they need another little nudge.
That's where I'm at with them. I'm going to get you out of here on this, and I'm not expecting, but it's kind of a bigger thought that kind of crossed my wavelength this week. J.J. Smith, former Jeremiah Smith, now J.J. Smith. Who is the last skill position player to force their way onto the field as a true freshman post-Tressel?
So, I mean, I guess I do remember J.K. Dobbins' freshman year in 2019, it went from, he might play a little bit. He might have a role. I don't know. This guy might really be the guy. I think he's going to be the guy. And then Mike Weber got hurt, and J.K. Dobbins had 30 carries in the opener.
Yeah.
There was a lot of J.K. percolated through camp of like, oh man, I think this is going to be more than we thought. So, and he turned, he ran for 2,000 yards as a junior, so he turned out to be pretty good. So, that's probably the guy that leaps to mind for me. But
that's a good one.
Part of the deal is, like, no matter how good you are, Chase Young looked like an NFL player when he was 18.
Mm-hmm.
But it was like, well, how are you going to play? And he didn't play much as a true freshman because there were so many guys in front of him. So the idea that not only do you have to be really good here, but, you have a lot of guys to push past, and he's doing that. Rare dude.
Yeah, rare dude indeed. J.K. is probably the answer. You're right on the Weber injury. 17, he had 1,400 yards and then is a Heisman finalist in 19, and it kind of all came together with the 2,000 yards. But what Smith is doing is certainly pretty rare. Good talking to you as always, my friend. Thanks for your time.
All right, thanks, man.
All right, that's the great Doug Lesmerises, the podcast, Kings of Columbus, Kings of the North. He joins on the Brian Heating Cooling Systems fan guest hotline. We have 3 things for you on a Friday coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
The sound of Paul Keels calling a Buckeye game is erotic. Oh, yes. Your home of the Buckeyes, The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, your favorite drafts are poured at a frosty 29 degrees, and rare barrel-aged whiskeys are served just the way you want them. It's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. I mean, where else can you find a scratch kitchen that always comes in clutch every day from lunch to late night? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Twin Peaks Scratch Kitchen scores every time. Dig into hand-smashed burgers, chef-inspired flatbreads, and more at your local lodge.
Lanny went to college and racked up huge debt.
A little bit over $100,000.
For a degree he couldn't use? Now what?
I had a friend that went to my computer career and they talked to me about it.
He was done in just months.
I did do it online.
They even helped him get hired immediately after graduation.
One of the things I love about IT is that you can work from anywhere you want.
You could become an IT pro in just months with zero experience at My Computer Career.
It worked for me, and I know it can work for you.
It's not rocket science. It's mycomputercareer.edu.
Right now at the Ram, make this the summer event. Well-qualified lessees get a low-mileage lease on the 2025 Ram 1500 Bighorn Crew Cab 4x4 for $549 a month for 42 months with $3,640 due at signing. Tax, title, license extra, no security deposit required. Call 1-877-RAM-5722 for details. Requires dealer contribution and lease through Stellantis Financial. Extra charge for miles over 35,000. Not all customers will qualify. Residency restrictions apply. Take delivery by September 3rd, 2024.
Shop Meijer for all your back-to-school essentials. Pull out your supply list and check it off as you go because it's all in one stop. Find Crayola 24-count crayons, Crayola 12-count colored pencils, Elmer's glue, and Meijer 100-sheet composition notebooks all for just 50 cents. Plus, select backpacks are 20% off. You'll get an A+ in savings when you shop back-to-school in one stop at Meijer. Exclusions apply. See all the deals in-store or in the Meijer app.
We don't talk politics on The Fan. We'd rather talk about things that unite us, like the exciting Buckeye season ahead and pizza. How about the rebirth of the Jackets and pizza? Your home of the Buckeyes, Jackets, pizza, and no politics. The Fan.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car can be picked up as soon as the next day. Receive a tax deduction and vacation voucher.
1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
With surgery and drugs being the main options to treat chronic joint pain, that left orthopedic surgeons like Dr. Ray Tessner thinking,
geez, wouldn't it be nice if we can have another form of treatment that eliminates some of the downside and has a bigger upside as we learn more about it?
And then he found it. Regenerative medicine, an exciting, fast-growing approach to dealing with pain using healing agents from your own body.
Well, it's using the miracle benefits of the human body to help encourage healing.
Today, you'll find Dr. Tessner at QC Connecticut. Kinetics, the nation's leader in regenerative medicine, giving patients lasting relief from joint pain in their knees, hips, shoulders, and back.
It's one of the best management tools that has come around in a long time.
Finally, options other than surgery and steroids. All natural regenerative treatments at QC Kinetics. Learn more. Call today for your free consultation.
Go to QCkinetics.com/Columbus or call 380-208-4544. That's 380-208-4544. 380-208-4544.
Hey, you. Yeah, you. Having your Fantasy Football League draft party at your house? Order Giannino's Family Feast and make it your Fantasy Football League feast. Giannino's, with locations in Pickerington and Westerville.
Score a goal with the Love My Crew checking account from Pathways, the checking account that rewards you for supporting the crew. Learn more at pathwayscu.com. Pathways Financial Credit Union, official credit union of the Columbus Crew. Federally insured by NCUA.
All your favorite fan shows are available when you want them.
Head to 971thefan.com and hit that subscribe button.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination. If you say something with enough confidence, it must be true. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
All right, Reese, what do you have on the poll?
Oh, the Daily Fan poll asks, would you ever eat a bacon cheeseburger for breakfast?
Yes.
75% say yes.
Yeah. Food is food. So, if I need food, I'll order what I want.
Yeah. It doesn't taste good. It's not something I'd seek out. But there's many a times in my college years when I'd have a cold slice of pizza in the morning, and that was just fine.
Was that from the fridge, or my dad told me he used
sometimes
to do this,
both.
Just leave it on the counter.
Hey, leave it out.
Yeah, a lot of times I'd try to get the fridge, but if not, I think if you get it early in the morning, you're okay on that side of things. Time for three things on a Friday.
1, 2, 3 things.
Sponsored by Custom Air. Custom Air. Custom Solutions. Custom Comfort.
Number one for me, as I was flipping around last night, I stumbled on the Showtime channels were playing Pulp Fiction. So I watched the last 30 minutes of it, and it remains the greatest live movie theater experience of my life. I saw it within a week when it came out. Had no clue what I was getting in for. The trailer was more vague. I had no idea about any of it. It was as hard as I've laughed, been blown away, all of it. And it got me thinking, like, is that the movie that if you say, wait, you haven't seen Pulp Fiction? Is that the answer? Is that the number one movie that you say, if you haven't seen Pulp Fiction? Like, is that it for this generation now? There's a time people would say that about The Godfather, but The Godfather's so long ago that I think those are starting to kind of phase out.
I think for my age, it's probably a little more the Scorsese, like Goodfellas. Or Departed. In Reese, that sense.
I don't know, probably Top Gun Maverick. Like, wasn't seen that one yet.
Reese has been on fire.
The one guy on the planet. You guys have both seen Pulp, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I actually watched a movie just recently that was kind of similar to it. I believe it was on Netflix. It's called Arkansas. It's about some drug dealers. Vince Vaughn is in it. Maybe check it out if you like Pulp Fiction that much. It had a similar thing where it wasn't told in chronological order exactly, and I was like, oh, it kind of reminds. It feels like it was definitely inspired. It does look a little weird because it was made during the pandemic, so it was a little cheaper and kind of on the
honestly, dude,
side.
Pulp Fiction is probably the most influential movie of the last 40 years.
Probably.
Because gun comedy became a thing. Like, all of those things happened because of Pulp.
Real quick, something I was watching this week. Do you ever ask yourself a question or maybe even verbalize that question and then right as you're saying it realize, oh, that's the dumbest thing I ever could have said? Now, I didn't verbalize this one, but I did think it, and then I almost said it, and then I was like, oh, yeah. Because we wanted to watch something kind of documentary-esque, and I wanted to just like something easy, a little light, informative, but it's not like a super deep, dark story. And we settled on Unsolved Mysteries is on Netflix, and I was like, oh, let's check out one of these. So we watched the Jack the Ripper one. Not the lightest subject matter, but they don't get like into the gory details. There's obviously no pictures from it either. But at the end, they're like, and we still don't know. And I'm like, yeah, Jack the Ripper, that's still nobody knows. And I was like, I wonder if they ever solve any of these on this show. And then I remembered I was watching Unsolved Mysteries.
Just real quick in the YouTube chat, Brad says he had a galley boy from Swenson's at 9:30 this morning.
All right. They ran it out to his car
there
for him.
You go. Saturday Spectacular tomorrow at 10 a.m. Tyvis Powell out doing Cleveland Browns radio things. We'll go from defense to offense. Dane Senzenbacher in Saturday morning at 10 a.m. to Saturday afternoon at 1 p.m. The Sports Saturday Spectacular in your ear holes.
Look forward to that, certainly. Number two for me, NBC came down one of the breaks, and he was like, hey, can I get a back plate? And I go, why? Why do you need a back? All my friends have them, which is his answer to everything. All my friends are doing. And I'm like, all right. So you play like free safety / outside linebacker kind of hybrid bullet thing. Okay. I said, I tell you what, make a tackle, and then we'll get you a back plate. Let's get a tackle in first. Let's get one tackle, and then we'll get you the back plate, buddy.
Or
back plate.
Also say, no, but if you want a back plate, you got to go full Tim Riggins. Get him a cowboy collar, too. Send him out like that. Have him roll it up. Do the crop
We could do
top.
that. I could do that, yeah.
Second one for me, this thought came into my head this week because of everything that's happening and changing in college football. What are they going to do with records? Because college football is a sport that doesn't separate postseason and regular season. So we've gone where the max was 12 games, then the max was 13, and then the max was 14, and then the max was 15 for the last few years. And now the max is going to be 17. Regular season and career records are going to fall the same way that they're falling in a 17-game season in the NFL, but supercharged. You're talking about there wasn't that many years where guys were able to get 15 games in, and not that many guys did. And now you're talking about there's going to be one, maybe two teams every year that play 17 games, at least 16. There will be two teams that play that many. These records are just going to fall all across the country unless they do something to separate them, but we've never separated them. So that's also an issue.
Yep.
This is going to be wild. Like, we're going to come back January 21st and be like, the hell do we do with any of this?
What just happened?
Everybody's single-season rushing record is going to fall.
They're gone. Yeah.
As a Guardians fan, I'm nervous as hell for this weekend. Cleveland enters a series with the Minnesota Twins, having lost 5 in a row. Twins have lost 2 in a row. They got 3.5 games. That's the cushion between the Guardies and the Twinkies in the AL Central. You'll have Joey Cantillo starting game 1 for the Guardians today in a doubleheader. Then you get your first look at Alex Cobb, who starts game 2. We come back and do the weekend Blitz Monday. This is going to be interesting as hell.
They did their job for me. They were interesting in June and July. They did their job for me. Number 3 for me, I talked earlier about the advantages and what I like about the X Twitter platform, in that it's timeliness, what's happening right now. Here's what I don't like. Every once in a while, I will hop on and I will go, what in the hell is all of this absolutely crazy, bonkers nonsense that is on my feed? And then I will realize that it flipped over to For You. That's as terrifying a place. The For You stream of X is as terrifying a place as you can be in the world right now, kids. You go in that world, and none of it's for me. I don't want any of it. So it's not curated for me. It's curated what they want me to see, and I'm like, man, I got to get back to following. Every once in a while, they'll put me in there, and my God, I want no part of it.
It's usually when you go back from certain pages or go back from a different account or something like that. They can't wait
to get you there though, and I can't wait to get out.
Yes, and because it's almost nobody you follow.
Nobody.
Or
things I'm interested in.
Yeah, it's just random. Last one for me. I get it. It makes sense that glasses and contacts, they're slightly different in the position of the lenses, so that when you test for them, do an eye test, they're different tests. What I don't get is why they have to be separate charges and separate appointments, and you have to decide in a lot of eye insurance situations whether or not you want to do your glasses or your contacts. They're my eyes. I should be able to see. I understand compensating the doctor for his time, but I should get both prescriptions anytime I go to the eye doctor and get an eye exam, and I can decide if I want to buy glasses or contacts.
Same. I don't have a problem with that.
The For You thing is like when you turn on your shower and you let the water get scalding hot and you haven't touched it yet, and you go to touch it, you go, ah! And you just retch back. You're like, I don't want any part of that.
It looks like a normal shower, but it's
fine, but no. Rothman and Ice are up next from 12 to 3. The legend, Clay Hall. For the Iceman today for 3 hours. Studio air conditioning back, so Clay gets a nice environment to do the show in.
Oh, it's very much back.
I'm glad that this is now part of the rotation. That makes for a happy Friday afternoon for me, certainly. Enjoy your weekend, everybody. We're back on Monday. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
When that alarm clock goes off, Morning Juice comes on. The perfect way to dominate your day or just lay around the house. Morning Juice.
Weekdays at 6.
The Fan. This is a Fan Action Update.
Both favorites, the Giants and Patriots, win in preseason football last night. Today, 3 games on the schedule. The Steelers are hosting the Texans. Pittsburgh's a 2.5-point underdog and plus 120 on the money line. The Falcons are 2.5-point road favorite against the Miami Dolphins. And the Eagles are a 1.5-point favorite at Baltimore. Browns and Bengals both in action tomorrow. For your action update, I'm Scotty Vegas.
Men, if erectile dysfunction is affecting you, getting treated could have a dramatic impact on your relationship and your outlook on life. But it's also important where you get treated because your health matters. And working with an organization that practices excellent medicine and has significant expertise in men's sexual health can often result in a far better outcome. This is Jeff for Tri-State Men's Health. And if you're seeking a quality provider to treat your ED or are just not satisfied with your current situation, call us. We'll show you a true 5-star experience and work with you to find the right treatment for your specific medical situation. At Tri-State Men's Health, we truly are experts in men's sexual health. But it's more than that. Unlike the online pill pushers or so-called men's clinics that only offer one or a few treatment options, we offer the full spectrum of ED protocols. We can even use combinative therapies for better results. At Tri-State Men's Health, your initial visit is just $99 and includes blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 800-900-9654 or go to tristatemenshealth.com.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone. If you need a new roof, but you're not sure you can afford it, no problem. Right now, Able Roof is offering no payments, no interest until 2026 for qualified buyers. Yep, that's the same Able Roof that's been voted the #1 roofing company in Columbus by Consumer Choice Awards 22 years in a row. Want more? Able Roof will give you up to $1,000 off a new roof, siding, or windows. This is a limited time offer, so call Able Roof today.
Call Able for the proof. 444-ROOF.
Care Heating and Cooling. When you need a company you can trust, call 1-800-COOLING.
Bo Bishop here. High Bank Distillery Co. is the most awarded distillery in America at the 2024 San Francisco World Spirits Competition. Stop by your local liquor store to grab a bottle or their 2 restaurant locations in Gahanna and Grandview. Dine, drink, distill at High Bank.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online at hims.com/joy. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation to determine the ED medication that's best for you. Discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and a range of treatment options, including trusted generic alternatives to the name brands at up to 95% off. ED is personal, and at Hims, so is treating it. Just go to hims.com/joy and get connected to a licensed medical provider online for free with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit.